we call the Twilight Zone.
See it occur, and you look at Steph and Clay, and even Draymond with his lack of
Has it 2 in a row. 7 points for him. The twirling Doncic. Melting into the defense. The front carry. Strikes. Swing, fly ball. Well hit left center. Ronald Acuna has home. Rookie rushing record for the Steelers.
Look, he came into this game averaging 3.67 yards per carry. 42nd out of 49 qualified rushers.
Freeze to begin the third quarter. It has been incredible. Here he comes again. Oh, goodness. And a Greek basketball god. And he was a great guy that teaches the
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Dingers, Dunks, and Drives, presented by Rally Towel Sports, as well as the Mafia Sports Report. Todd with me tonight. Aaron and Bobby have the night off. Aaron is actually celebrating a belated honeymoon in Costa Rica.
Costa Rica.
We will give you a little video taste of that tomorrow on Twitter, I'm sure, and Facebook as well. But Todd, first off, buddy, how you doing tonight?
Bro, I'm so excited to be here. We're going to be talking a little Turkey Day eats, which, if I'm being honest, it's my favorite holiday of eating, and I would assume that that's most people's favorite holiday of eating because of the myriad of things that you get to stuff your face with. And I'm very blessed to say that I'll get to eat 2 hot meals and then a leftover meal at some point in time tomorrow. So
good for you.
Good
for you.
I've been counting my calories all week, just waiting for this day.
Good for you, man.
So let me tell you a quick how Thanksgiving goes in the Gottschall house. My mom said, "Hey, I bought 5 dozen Hawaiian rolls."
And again, let's remind the people it's you, Mary, Declan, who will gnaw on a roll. Nick,
a roll.
A roll. Yeah. Nick, his wife, your mother and father.
Yeah, and potentially my in-laws.
So, but we're talking less than a dozen people.
Yeah, and I said, so how many are just set aside for me? And she said 2 dozen are for you.
Okay.
So I'll make sure I give.
So she's just buying with the intent of leftovers, right? She's buying with the intent of leftovers.
There will be some, and Bobby traditionally also gets a plate. Kind of like it's more of like a container, right? Like you put the brownies in the big rectangle container. That's what my mom gives me to give back to Bobby when we come back up here.
Wow. What a lady.
She's a saint.
What a lady.
She's a saint.
Well, we got a fantastic show for you tonight. We do have the Turkey Day food draft coming up here in just a bit. We also have a fantastic guest joining us tonight. So let's go ahead and bring him in. Welcome to the show, Mike Santagata. Mike, thank you so much for being with us tonight, man. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing great. Thanks for nailing the name. I remember I went on this Lions podcast, and this guy said my name about 7 times before I went on. He was like, Mike Santagata. All right, got it. And then he's like, all right, welcome in my guest, Mike Santagata. It's just like, you said it like 7 times. What is this? How do you get it right so many times?
He's got that Kirk Cousins syndrome. When the lights come on, he shrivels a little bit, you know?
It was nighttime.
Yeah, there you go. All right, so we got an awesome show, but I think in the interest of everybody's time, I think we just get right into it here, boys. But let's talk a little bit about you first, Mike. Mike, I want to hear. Introduce. I know who you are. Todd knows who you are, but let's tell the rest of our viewers who you are, what you're doing, what you got working on.
Yeah, analyst for all Bengals. Do writing there. I'm on Locked On Bengals once a week or so, and I have my own podcast with Lindsey Patterson. It's always game day in Cincinnati. Just a lot happened. I started my Twitter account, Bengals_Sands, 2 years ago, just tweeting into the void about my favorite sports team. And then, I don't know, I just amassed a following and just opportunities presented themselves from there. I do a lot of film work. I played high school football and I ruptured out my knee, and then that stopped that. But so did so many people. It's like I've done a lot of clinic watch, coaches clinics and all this other stuff to watch and actually try to learn everything and not just what I knew in high school. So there's a lot to it, but yeah, that's about the story. There's a lot of film, a lot of clips, I'm trying to cut down on the clips a little bit. I started just turning them all into cut ups. I'm like, I feel like people are tired of it.
So I'll tell you, I try to do a little bit of homework, right? I wanted to make sure I didn't want to come on here and fumble my way through. But your analysis of the Pirine screen touchdown was let me give it a little chef's kiss, because it was beautiful, because you broke it down in all 3 steps correct. It started with the pancake block at the line of scrimmage, and then with Karras's pancake block, and then Stanley Morgan sealing off the edge, and then that final push that Volson had when they got inside the 15, where he got that final seal. I was watching the game with my wife, and I was like, "That's the best play Volson's made all year," because he got his whole body to seal off just the sideline for Pirine, and it was an easy 6. Yeah, it was an easy 6 after that.
Oh yeah, what is Bengals screen game good now? What are they averaging, like 25 yards of screen right now? It's like over the past couple weeks.
Because I think
that was the worst part of their game the past 3 years.
Yeah, well, I think they block better in the open field than they ever have. I think that's the big thing, is that I think you have guys like Karras, Kappas, and Volson, who's a big athletic guy, right? He moves well for his size, and you get those guys out in the open field, and if they can give a running back or a wide receiver a yard, that turns into another 7 to 9 net, because you're giving so much seal off. I think that's
thanks for liking the stream, Bob.
That's where that's where teams fail, is when they get it to that open edge, because you can. If you run a screen right, you're guaranteed at least 4 to 5 yards, right? It's almost a shoe-in. What gets tough is when you get past that first and second level, and then you have to get into the third level as everybody cracks down on you, right? And I think that's where the Bengals have gotten better, is they've almost perfected the wall, right? The 7-man wall that comes with running a screen. They've almost gotten it completely right. So it's such a we watched, I mean, even last year we watched them run so many screens to Chase and Mixon, and they were just usually bombas, and now it's been so effective without Jamar Chase.
Well, and I got a question here for you, Mike, and I'm curious your thoughts on this. It's twofolded. One, the first part of this, is it because Samaje Perine is a better receiving back? ? Part 2, is that because of the addition of guys like Alex and Ted and now Cordell, I feel like Cordell specifically is a guy that is a fantastic run blocker. He gets out in space and can get to those second levels, maybe has a little bit of the issues with the pass blocking there. So kind of a multi-pronged question there. Take from it what you will.
All right. First one, Pirine. I don't think he's a better receiver. Now, passing down back, yes, because he's such a good blocker.
Sure.
But the receiving thing is like I that's almost prisoner of the moment, because I think 2 weeks ago Joe Mixon took his screen like 35 yards.
Fair.
Yep, you're right. His first touchdown was a 35-yard or 37-yard screen pass.
Yeah. So yeah, Mixon had Mixon's good at doing that. He is not much of a blocker, but yeah, I think it's more the addition of this offensive line. I don't know exactly how good Kappa is at it, but I do think that Karras and Volson are huge, especially Volson. Volson on these screens he's been a monster. On the Joe Mixon screen, he does a fantastic job of taking the biggest threat, taking him out to the sideline. And then this screen, obviously, he sprints all the way downfield. And honestly, I don't know how you draw up that screen. I don't think it involves Volson sprinting 40 yards downfield.
I don't think so either.
Convoys, so that's just smart athletic football from him. So yeah, that was pretty cool to see. Look, the best screen they ran last year was Pirine going the wrong way and scoring a touchdown because they followed the offensive line.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, so you've been you're extremely active on Twitter. Everybody, we got his
too active.
Likewise, right? You can go ahead and follow Mike. There's great analysis. I know you're trying to cut back on the clips you had mentioned, but you posted a nice handful today, and I enjoyed every one of them, my man. So I appreciate it, especially like the Trent touchdown that you posted, just kind of giving a little bit of insight onto what they were looking at down there in the red zone and what Burrow was seeing and what they were able to do. So, again, not a Bengals podcast, but it's the night before Thanksgiving, and you got 3 Bengals fans on a podcast right now. So we're going to talk about the Bengals. So, chat, if you got anything else, throw it in to us. But I want to get into this Thanksgiving food draft, and then we'll get into a little bit of Week 12. We'll do a deep dive on Bengals Titans. Don't you worry. We got plenty to discuss there for sure. But I want to talk a little bit more about Thanksgiving food. So, Mike, you are the honorary guest. We are going to give you the number 1 overall pick. We're going to do 4 rounds snake draft. It's going to go Mike, me, Todd, and we'll swing it back. We're going to do 4 rounds, Thanksgiving food. Lead us off, Mike. What's the number 1 overall pick?
Thanksgiving is a sides holiday, in my opinion. I am making that number 1 overall pick as mashed potatoes.
Fantastic selection.
Beautiful.
Fantastic selection. Number 1 on my big board coming off now. Absolutely.
I mean, yeah, like what you go turkey number 1 is just like that's such a low ceiling pick. Like mashed potatoes are awesome. You know, that's just
they're something that you can't it's on everybody's plate. There's nobody that's saying, you know what, I'm not a big mashed potatoes guy.
The vegans are eating it, right? Well,
Yeah.
vegetarians.
Vegetarians. It depends on what you put in it with.
A lot of butter. A lot of butter.
A lot of butter. And sometimes some cheese. Vegans making a mistake eating the mashed potatoes, but
but are they? No, I'm just kidding. All right, I'm going to go with a little bit of a curveball here. I would agree with you that Thanksgiving is a sides holiday. It's also a desserts holiday, in my opinion. And I'm coming dessert off in the first round, 2nd overall, and it's not who you think. I'm going pecan pie. Number 2 overall. Number 2 overall. It's delicious. And you know what? As I've grown up, I've come to respect it more. When I was a child, when I was blind, it was pumpkin pie every day, all day. Now that I've aged and matured, it's pecan. Now, you say pecan or pecan, guys?
It's pecan.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, cool. Just making sure we're on the same page. We're all literate. Good. All right, cool. Todd, go ahead, Mike.
This says pecan.
Pecan,
Yes,
yeah.
pecan. That's in the South.
Yeah.
We're just close enough to the border.
Did you guys
hear 50-50?
Yeah,
when you guys were in school, did you ever have to watch those? Todd, I know you did because we went to the same school. Those videos are like econ. Gonna tell you about econ. That's what I think every time someone says pecan. I think of that song teaching me about economics as a young child. So
I just had a deja vu moment.
Lost me.
It's okay. Todd's with me.
I had a crazy deja vu moment.
There are listeners right now going like, holy shit. Yeah, I know exactly what this guy's talking about. All right. Todd, 3rd overall.
Oh, it's mac and cheese, boys.
Oh, I thought that was
Mac and
coming back
cheese.
to me.
No, it'll never make it back. Here's the thing.
Well, there's purists that don't think mac and cheese belongs to Thanksgiving, and that's just wrong.
So it is wrong. And I had this conversation tonight with my mother-in-law, father-in-law, and wife. I was like, so who's making the mac and cheese tomorrow? Because we're all bringing something, contributing so no one loses their mind. There's no mac and cheese. It's Thanksgiving. There's no mac and cheese. Hold on.
What?
Hold on. Yeah. Crazy.
What? Yeah, no,
Go
there's
ahead.
mac and cheese. There's mac and cheese in this house.
That's a great pick right there.
Here's the thing. You gave me a curveball here. Taking pecan pie.
You thought you were getting it, weren't you?
Yeah. I thought I was going to get pecan pie coming back here on the way back, but guys, I'm gonna go with the classic here that you just lather up in gravy. It's going to be the traditional stuffing.
God
right?
damn it.
I'm not talking cornbread stuffing. I'm not talking about vegetable stuffing or sage stuffing. I'm talking. You got a bird. You fill that thing full of just a bunch of breadcrumbs and whatever seasonings. You just, and then when I shovel it out, I actually just shovel it onto my plate specifically and don't share with anyone else. That's
That's
my
a good one. That's fantastic.
Stuffing is the best food that I only eat once a year.
That's a fact.
Fact.
It's an absolute fact. You eat it one time a year, sometimes twice because you have leftovers of it. And you're like,
oh yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
I have to take the stuffing back home with me because I'm going to eat 4 pounds of turkey in the next 5 days. I got to have something I can mix with it. So
give me the distinction between stuffing and dressing. What's the distinction there, Mike?
To me, nothing.
Okay, they're the same thing, just called it different. Okay, just different names. Okay,
it's all geographical too.
Yeah, is it different for you guys?
It's like pop and soda, right?
Yeah,
kind of something like that.
They call it. That's another thing that they call it in the South.
In the South,
my grandmother, who is from the hollers of Kentucky, called it dressing.
Yeah, I know dressing means stuffing, but I have never heard anybody say that. I'm north of you guys. Well,
Not me.
Not him. But yeah,
No, so I think, did your grandmother also say crick and washcloth? Because I think that those are probably
Well,
like,
that's a west side of Cincinnati thing too. Though. You got to
Yeah.
remember that. I have a father-in-law that calls it that.
But yes, where I live right now, I hear it all the time.
washcloth and crick and all that good stuff. All right, so
Yeah.
it's basically the south of Pennsylvania. Then is where you're at. Okay.
Anybody who says yins is just like
Yins.
it's terrible. It happens
to,
a lot. I thought it was
does.
fake. Like I thought it was just like a couple people. No, that's real.
I used to have a lot of interactions with people that lived just outside of Erie, and they said yins. And
what does that mean? What the fuck does that even mean?
Y'all.
It's like you all. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
The first time she said it, I looked at my wife and I was like, "What the fuck's a yin?"
She get kicked by a horse as a child?
Yeah.
What's wrong with this fucking person?
Did the video break up?
What is the answer to this? We got Tommy. We are syndicated on the Mafia Sports Report YouTube channel as well. What is the answer here? Can eggnog be in the draft? I'm saying no. I'm saying no.
Drink eggnog at Thanksgiving.
No,
it's a Christmas thing.
I would agree. I think literally Black Friday and on, you can start drinking eggnog.
Oh, fully agree. Christmas for me starts pretty much after Thanksgiving dinner. Then I'm like, you could start it.
I would even say halftime of the primetime game. I'm starting to just.
Oh yeah, my Thanksgiving dinner is at like 4, dude.
Is
like, if you want to do it at like 6, yeah, sure. The good eggnog story I have is I got a 8.5-pound Chihuahua mix. Wally, and we had a Christmas party at my house, and I had rum eggnog sitting next to me as we played this board game. I was getting into it. I wasn't paying attention. This dude's tiny head is fully in this red Solo cup when I found him. He drank half of a cup of egg. This guy's 8.5 pounds. He drank half of a rum eggnog, and I pull it away from him. He just kind of looks at me, takes 3 steps, and then just lays down on his side and takes a nap.
It's like, yeah, Dad, I think I'm done for the night, man.
we all have our own rum eggnog story, right?
What was the board game? That's what I want to know. What was the board game?
Oh man,
Settlers.
It was not Settlers. It was probably, I want to say it was what's the Betrayal at House on the Hill?
Okay.
Ooh, good one.
I love it. I love it.
And
I love it.
We've got Betrayal Baldur's Gate.
I actually don't know that one, so I'm going to need you to DM me and tell me a little bit about it. I'm going to need to learn. You sipping on a Rheingeist right now?
Dude, I was like, Cincinnati podcast. First thing I was drinking was a lemonade from Rheingeist, and then now I've got Summer Shandy.
Oh, beautiful. Beautiful.
What a guy.
I actually had a truth at dinner. They started distributing up here in Michigan. Now, Bruce, liking the stream. Bruce, thanks for coming on, buddy.
Bruce?
All the way out in Las Vegas. Got a Raiders fan coming in. Appreciate you, buddy. And sharing the stream as well. Thank you so much. All right, I believe it's my pick, if I'm not mistaken. So just to recap, we had first off the board was mashed potatoes, followed by pecan pie. And then Todd led it up with mac and cheese and stuffing. So I'm going to take a meat off the board here. It's probably not the one that you think. I'm going with ham here. In my second, let me be honest here. Ham is the superior meat.
Absolutely.
Anything that requires an additional sauce in order for it to be good. For instance, if one were to go to a fine steakhouse, get a steak cooked medium rare, as you should, depending on the cut, and then request a steak sauce, the chef would likely come out and ask you what's wrong with your steak. It's too dry, correct? That's why you need a sauce to lubricate it down the gullet. You need gravy with turkey. No one's cutting turkey right off the bird and just eating it as is. You need something with it. I can't do it. Ham, it brings the full flavor, all the package. Plus, afterwards, the leftovers for ham, you got leftover King's Hawaiian rolls, get a little bit of ham in there. Maybe there's some mashed potatoes. It's a little bit of gravy. You're feeling crazy. It's fantastic. Fantastic. So I'm going with ham in the second round. Mike, finish us off second round and then lead us off into the third.
Oh, man. I think I will finish the second round off with rolls. We've talked about them.
Beautiful.
That's
beautiful.
Nothing better than good bread, you know?
So you're going.
That's a fact. If
you had to pick, you going Crescent, you going King's Hawaiian? Where are you landing on that?
Oh, man.
I know. It's a tough one.
I probably more like King's Hawaiian. I think
Okay.
either that or like a homemade dinner roll with a good amount of butter. Just that's nice.
I dig it. So
right.
finishing up the second round, Todd, again, you let us off. I'm losing it again. You let us off with Stuffing. God, it's the most important one. It just keeps spacing on me. Stuffing, ham, and then rolls, finishing off the second round. All right, get us going, Mike, on the third. What do we got here?
Okay. Well, you got pecan pie. I am probably going to take pumpkin pie here just to take the other pie, steal the other dessert. I mean, I guess Todd could go apple pie or some other thing, but
that's not a Thanksgiving pie.
Yeah, there's two pies. There's two pie choices. I'm gonna put a monopoly on the other one and finish it off. Plus, pumpkin pie is awesome. I know it's a vehicle for whipped cream, but I love whipped cream, I guess.
There's nothing better than when you get the pumpkin pie out and then Grandma takes the vats of Cool Whip out of the fridge at the same time.
Yeah.
And I mean, if my mom's watching, she understands. My dad will take a container of Cool Whip, and you can basically just cut it in half for a slice, and that is his portion of Cool Whip. So that is something I've also inherited. Is I will put three very healthy dollops of Cool Whip on a slice of pumpkin
Cool
pie.
Whip or Ready Whip? Is there a preference on the Cool Whip or the Ready Whip? Or are you're good with it?
I'm a Cool Whip guy.
I'm good with both, but if I am picking, probably Cool Whip.
Okay. I appreciate that. So I'm coming in here in the third round. I've got two options here that I'm really looking at. I'm going to go with the one that I can eat the most of, and the one that I think I actually will get the larger portion of. I'm going to go with green bean casserole here.
That's a great pick. I was thinking of taking it.
Yeah,
smart.
Green bean casserole. It's, you know what? It's a bit of a, I think we're three like-minded individuals cut from the same cloth, if you will. We think highly of these things. We say pecan the same way, all these normal human being things. But there are a factor of humans that detest green bean casserole. They don't like it at all. And to those people, I say, what the fuck is wrong with you?
I was that person until 2 years ago, and my mother-in-law was like, you're not going to, I was going through the line.
You're not going to marry my daughter, is what she said.
Yeah, right. And I'm going through the line, and she's like, you just skipped over the green bean casserole. And I
said, how fucking hard I worked on that?
It's like, yeah, sorry, I don't like it. She literally took my plate, takes a scoop of it, puts it on there, and she's like, just eat it.
Do it.
And I did. And now I like it.
She Ben Stiller'd you, dude. She was sitting there.
It's fine.
Do it.
Shout out to Kathy.
Do it.
I'm scared of her, and I respect her at the same time.
I recently got into because we make the green bean casserole. That's the thing we bring. So I was thinking I was going to be able to get that in fourth, but I guess I'm wrong. You know, we were cut from the same cloth, like we've mentioned. I tried to make everything from scratch before, and I was like, all right. I think the main thing that I really liked making was the cream mushroom soup. So now I make that, and then I just kind of throw it.
You actually you make that from scratch?
Oh yeah, there's a little bit of cognac.
You know what? I actually remember one thing that I saw from you on Twitter that kind of caught my eye. And I think it was I want to say it was like your father's recipe for like a homemade pasta dish or something.
Oh yeah, Italian, cavatelli. Not my dad's recipe. Well, yeah, my dad passed away a couple years ago, and then on the anniversary of that, I always make homemade cavatelli meatballs and sauce because that was both of our favorite food is cavatelli meatballs. So
that's awesome.
It is such a process, but I'll tell you that making the homemade cavatelli is so much better than like the store-bought frozen type stuff. It's just so much effort. It is like 3 hours of making pasta, and I'm like, I do this once a year. I don't know if I could do more.
You walked everybody through it step by step. You're like, this is what you do first. This is what you do. And you were
hey,
photos the whole
Italian.
way. No, I'm not. My last name is James. So yeah, awesome. And there's nothing wrong with you, Emerald. Thank you for joining us. We got her from the Bring the Juice podcast, a Colts podcast. Emerald, thank you so much for coming back and hanging out with us.
What a Friday night that was.
Last Friday, Todd and I joined the Bring the Juice podcast, and copious amounts of Jim Beam shots. I shotgunned a beer in less than 3 seconds. We had an absolute Yeah, absolutely. Look at this question coming in here from Bruce off the Facebook stream.
Bro, look at this.
Is someone escaping from Todd?
It looks like someone's standing behind. It scared me for a second when I looked at. It's a coat rack. Yeah.
Okay, I thought that was a Halloween decoration.
I 100% did too.
So I'm in my living. So it's like living room. This is a little bonus area. And I looked up when I read the comment, and I looked up, and I was like, "Oh shit! Like, what is that? Is that a guy? It's a nice spring training Reds hat just hanging out there with a jacket underneath."
It looks like almost like a Slender Man mock-up or something that you got going on.
Definitely thought it was Halloween. I wasn't.
Yeah, I got it.
No judgment. I was to be like, look, if you can get that inside, and you just want to hang it out there till after Thanksgiving.
No, I got to do something about that. That's the answer to that. Bruce, thank you for that question, and I will fix that moving forward because that's
fantastic
for a second.
So I said we had copious amounts of alcohol. Emerald coming in with copious, putting it likely. Bobby also joining into the chat here. Bobby was with that shot of tequila wrecked my weekend.
Tequila would be my 101 for hard liquor. I don't know about you guys.
That's the one you go to often.
Yeah, that'd be my favorite.
So I'm a bourbon guy, generally speaking. That being said, went to Mexico in February, and when I was there, man, it was fantastic. I got just indoctrinated into it. It was just like, oh, a tequila fresca, never had that before. While you're on a golf course, and you're just like, well, this is fucking phenomenal. So yeah, absolutely. Okay, let's keep it rolling here. Where are we at? I've lost my are you kicking us off on the fourth here?
We're at 3-3.
Okay, 3 of 3. Thank you, Mike. Thank you so much for holding it down, buddy.
I'm only 1.5 beers in.
Yeah, I'm at 2.5. So yeah,
same.
So if I'm gonna go here and I'm gonna do my back, I get the back to back. So, but I'm gonna start here with a nice cornbread pudding. Right. That's where I'm gonna start.
I fuck with that. Yeah.
It's a nice starchy carbohydrate. Right. Because
you don't get enough starches or carbs on Thanksgiving, do you?
No, but here's the thing: is that you get to. I just said I'm gonna have 2 Thanksgiving meals tomorrow. I'll probably have some bevies in between number 1 and number 2. So I'm going to need something to soak a little bit of that up so I can catch my stride going after the dinner to get into the primetime game. So cornbread pudding it's a great one to do that. Then I'm just going to follow it up, boys, with a nice, specifically the dark meat of a turkey. I'm a dark meat turkey.
Turkey finally goes. This is a deserving spot.
Yeah. Fourth round. Yeah, I'm good with it.
It deserves its day in court, right?
It wouldn't be Thanksgiving without turkey to me. Like I know ham is better meat, and if they're both there, I will get more ham than turkey. But I have
still gonna get turkey.
I still gotta get at least like a 2 slices of turkey.
Absolutely. Well, I am absolutely stunned that this has fallen to me. I had mentioned on my last pick that I'm going to take the one that I get more of, and this one brought it right back. Boys, I'm taking sweet potato casserole. This is one thing that might not be cut from the same cloth. I'm not a huge fan.
You're in the minority. Sir.
That's fine. That's fine. More for me, boys, because we all 3 look like we can put down some food, and I just want to say thank you for not enjoying the sweet potato casserole. It's just a little brown sugar on top of the marshmallows. Oh my!
It all makes sense why I should like it, and then I eat it and I go, yeah, it's fine.
It's so good. But here's the thing. If it's made properly, you can't have as much of it as everything else. I'm not getting a large portion of sweet potato casserole. It's more of, this is my vessel towards the pecan pie is really what it is. I finished my on your last plate. I finished my taters. I finished my turkey, gravy, all mashed potatoes, all of these things. I'm going to finish off this sweet potato casserole, and I'm going to go jump on that pecan pie. Bruce is not happy with what's going on here.
He said, I'm going to riot.
Bobby coming in, sweet potato casserole fucks. Thank you, Bob. Me and Bob holding it down. The banker boys holding it down here. All right, Mike, finish it off. What's Mr. Irrelevant of the Thanksgiving food draft?
Yeah, it's tough. I am not going to be going cranberry sauce because I don't really use it.
Me either.
I feel like that was one of the last things that I even have is like a normal Thanksgiving thing. Let's go.
Doesn't
All
have
right.
to be food. Maybe bevies.
Oh man, that does change things. That does change things for me. I will. All right, I'll stay true to my people and go red wine.
I'll be honest with you. I knew that's where you're going.
Yeah, well, if you had the chart up, that was.
I didn't have it up. I just remembered it. I didn't have it up, but I remembered it. And when I saw it, I was like, oh, that's kind of unique, red wine. But at the same time, it's fall, it's cold, a hearty, full-bodied wine.
I'm
it's
Italian.
Fantastic. Yeah, you're Italian also. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
So, are you a wine snob? Would you consider yourself a wine snob?
No, I mean, look, I love a really good dry wine. I had a roommate, her dad owned a winery, so he did the whole teaching you how to do the left, right, underneath your tongue and breathe it in, and it changes the flavors or whatever. It's like, whatever, that works. But I also like the Franza right out the bag, slap it.
Chillable red, baby.
I'm not a snob. I'll drink all wine. That's where I am.
It's nothing better than a good bag slap. Starts the
night. One of our co-hosts, Aaron Mailing. He's a Browns fan. We went to the Bowling Green State University. We had a risk night. Him and I did one-on-one risk with a box of Franzia Chillable Red.
That sounds like a great night.
Let's just say the negotiations over Kamchatka were vivid. They were beautiful, very electric for sure.
I forgot you did say dark meat turkey, didn't you?
Yes, he did.
I could have taken white meat turkey. No,
it's fine. I think red wine's a better pick.
I kind of thought mashed potatoes. You kind of get the. Why else would anybody else take gravy?
Yeah, great. Yeah, I mean, gravy is one that it's a sauce. It's not really a dish to me. It's put on. It's on turkey. It's on stuffing. It's on mashed potatoes. It's on all of those things.
There would be
gravy
people
is like
that
the
would
all-time
argue,
quarterback of Thanksgiving.
There'd be people that argue that there's a recipe to gravy.
Oh yeah, right? For
so
sure.
I think that it. I also didn't take it because I just assumed that you're not going to eat mashed potatoes by themselves because that seems.
Because then you
honestly,
need
it was almost like a 3-person agreement that we're putting gravy on all these foods.
Yeah. I just kind of just do one of those things. You know what I mean?
The ladle hits. I do like a little nice circle on the plate.
Yeah, you just
hits everything.
Absolutely. Grandma kept that gravy on low all day with a little gentle spoon stir. You're gonna put it on all your food. All right, you're gonna respect your grandmother. All right, fantastic. That was a fantastic Thanksgiving food draft. We will get those up on TikTok and YouTube Shorts. So everyone has Bruce. Everyone has gravy. We all have gravy. We all agree that gravy is fantastic.
Quarterback of the draft.
Yeah. That's your 99 created player. It never misses.
Mark Echo in Madden 2002, if you remember that one.
John
Dowd
in MVP Baseball 2005.
Yes. Fantastic.
Looking back, like if you told somebody that, they probably think it says, well, that's because Barry Bonds was juicing, right? It's like, no, he just wasn't part of the MLBPA.
Yeah, he was such an asshole that he thought his name was worth more than a video game. There's the answer to that.
It's the same reason it probably was.
Yeah. John Dowd, Reggie Stocker, it's all Barry Bonds. He just didn't want to give his namesake up. Michael Jordan didn't for a long some either. If you guys
NBA
played.
Jam, you were Scottie Pippen and Horace Grant.
Yeah. And then when you got into the NBA Lives, it was just like it was something. His name was like Michael Player or something like that. But he was 99 overall, and he fucked over everyone. It was nuts. Couldn't play him. Ridiculous.
Well, that's a fantastic Thanksgiving food draft. I appreciate everybody hanging on there and jumping in the chat. But without further ado, I think the most important thing, and if we could take it number one overall in terms of things that we enjoy about Thanksgiving, I think it might be football between the three of us. So I am absolutely over the moon about pretty much all of these games, actually. I'm really excited about each of them for different aspects. So I think it's time, ladies and gentlemen, that we go ahead and jump into our Week 12 picks. So the first one we've got in Detroit at Ford Field. The Buffalo Bills pretty much just set up Shaq right there in Ford Field. Last week when they took on the Browns at Ford Field, they used the visitors' locker rooms. Why? Because they wanted to prepare for the toughest matchup that they've had all year. Going in and taking on Dan Campbell and the knee biters. the team that embodies grit, the Detroit Lions, who are 9.5-point underdogs. Mike, I want to give this to you first. I want you to lead things off. Give us what you're looking for in this game and who you're taking. You don't have to take spread. We just want who's going to win this game and give us your insight.
Oh, man, I thought I was picking spread. Well, that makes it easier.
Yeah.
So what I'm looking for is I really just want to watch Penei Sewell if he gets any reps against Von Miller or any of those Bills really good pass rushers. Love Penei Sewell in the draft. That's still have love for him, even though I think there was a very big civil war with the Bengals about Sewell versus Chase.
Yeah.
Still love the guy. I thought he was awesome, and he's been really good right tackle. That's mainly what I'm looking for. And the run game with Detroit, they don't have too much else really going for it. But,
well, they got Aiden Hutchinson. I mean, Aiden Hutchinson, when you're looking at what this guy's been able to do in the early goings here, it's everything that you thought he was going to be. He has just as many interceptions as Sauce Gardner. He has as many sacks as the next two pass rushers drafted as in the same class combined. Kayvon Thibodeau, and then who's the other pass rusher?
Was that Jermaine Johnson or is it George Karlaftis?
It would have been Jermaine. It would have been Jermaine
Walker went before him. That's why.
Okay, yeah. So Walker, is Walker and Thibodeau combined, Aiden Hutchinson has more sacks than both of those individuals, and just as many interceptions as Ahmad Sauce Gardner. So that's pretty interesting. But no, I think that's the biggest thing that I'm looking for in this one is can he continue this production? He's got to be a guy that you're looking for at least when considering Defensive Rookie of the Year. Obviously, Sauce is in that conversation too. But Mike, I mean, it's pretty. You're taking the Bills in this one, right?
Yeah, I'm taking the Bills. I will say I think I would take the Lions against the spread though, because I think, 9.5 at home on a short week does make me. If it was, I know the Lions are hot, but if it was just they had a different name, I'd feel more confident. But because it's the Lions, it's almost like I feel like they're gonna let me down. But yeah, I'll take the Bills straight up. But I think I would go Lions against the spread.
It's interesting you say that because literally about 3 hours ago, I did take Lions against the spread.
All right.
That being said, I am going to take the Bills to win this one. It is an interesting matchup, though. And like we were saying before we started the show, 4 weeks ago, we didn't really think that this was going to be a great football game. This is one that you could probably fall asleep to after you finish your second round of dessert there on the early Thanksgiving dinners. But now that the Lions have reeled off 3 straight, the Bills have kind of limped into this matchup. Obviously, they pimp slapped Cleveland last week, but
it was close at the start though. Like
it was. Cleveland led, I think, up into the midway to the second quarter, if I'm not mistaken.
10-3 for a long time.
Yeah, absolutely. Cleveland does what Cleveland does, except for when they play Joe Burrow and failed to execute. But the Bills have kind of let down at points, and there's a rule here in Detroit that I've come to learn over living here for the last going on almost 5 years now, is that you don't bet on and you don't bet against the Lions. These are one of those games that they just sometimes pull out of nowhere, and typically it's against a Green Bay when they have no business beating Green Bay, but they just do it at home. But Todd, I would imagine you're kind of leaning the same way here.
Yeah, no Jeff Okudah this week, fellas. That's the one that concerns me the most, because when you look at Detroit, you have a couple of weapons on defense, and he's probably their second largest asset, and you're losing him for the week. So now you're going to have to figure out how to cover Diggs, which means Gabe Davis gets a little bit more love. That Bills run game last Sunday, I don't know if you guys watched, but Jared Cook and Devin Singletary ran the ball exceptionally well, the best they've run all year together. James Cook, sorry, thank you.
Not the 39-year-old tight end.
No, smart. Thank you for fixing me there. But it's the first time we've watched Buffalo let the run game eat, and it was very successful. And I think we're going to see more of that. As obviously Josh Allen, harboring a UCL injury, they're going to have to rely on that run game, and it's a good asset. I think we're going to see them do that a lot more against Detroit.
Fantastic. All right, moving on to the second game of Turkey Day. We've got an NFC Beast matchup down in Jerry World, where a spread that we're looking at here that just a couple weeks ago we probably would have thought it was a lot more narrow, but after the performance last week in Minnesota, the Cowboys absolutely laying the hammer down on Skull Nation there for the Vikings. Dallas, a 10-point favorite against their division rival New York Football Giants. Todd, we'll lead this one off with you. What are you looking for, and who are you taking?
So the thing that Detroit did last week very well to the Giants is they took Saquon Barkley out of the picture and forced Daniel Jones to lead the offense. And I think we saw where that took him, right? Because New York just lacks other offensive specialists. They don't have much, right? They just lost their best rookie asset, Wan'Dale Robinson, for the season with a torn ACL. So now you're talking about their main target being Darius Slayton, if I'm not mistaken.
I think so, yeah.
Yep, that's their best weapon.
It's
who's
certainly
also
not Kenny.
Hey, he had two. He doubled his season total in catches last week, guys. All right,
he's got a case of the I got paid-itis,
Yeah,
for the last fucking 18 months. Yeah,
God. New York is also down 3 starting offensive linemen, fellas. Both guards and Evan Neal are all out this week, which means Daniel Jones is going to be running for his life. Doesn't bode well for New York. I'm taking the Cowboys at home, fellas, especially on Thanksgiving at 4:00. It feels like all the stars are aligning for the United States with the Cowboys winning at 4:00.
Yeah, it's a pretty easy one for me. I think the state, not necessarily the city of New York, the wind is kind of coming out of the sails on both these AFC and NFC teams. I'm taking the Cowboys here. Mike, what you got?
Oh, Cowboys easily. I'd probably take him against the spread. I'll be honest with you. This is the one I don't think will be close. I think the Cowboys lay down another beat down on an overachieving NFC team. Man, I don't know. Maybe the Giants are actually really good and they're worth that record. But when I watch them and I look on paper and I'm just like, I don't know about this.
I dig it. I dig it. Next one. This is kind of an interesting matchup. We've got, I think, almost 2 teams that have kind of slumped a little bit. Obviously, New England getting the win last week, but I'm still not a believer in the Patriots. But they're going on the road now to face the Minnesota Vikings. 2.5 spread. Vikings are favored on this one. Mike, we'll let you lead this one off and tell us what you're seeing here.
Oh, wow. This is the tough one. I know the spread says that and everything. This is one of the toughest ones on the week, I think. Patriots have an awesome defense. They just don't have an offense. The Vikings, they find ways to win, usually. I think the Vikings win, but this is one I don't feel confident at all about. What I look for is Bill Belichick just going to try to take Justin Jefferson away and try to have him beat them anywhere else, like that old one double number whatever? Or are they going to let their best corner go against them? I feel like they're going to probably take Jefferson away, make the Vikings beat him elsewhere, but I just don't think they have the offense to compete.
I would normally agree with you if this game was taking place at 1:00 Eastern, but I have a strict philosophy
that's a good point.
As a degenerate, this is a primetime game and Kirk Cousins is playing quarterback. I'm going with the Patriots, boys and girls. Todd, who you got?
Man, here's the deal. I already got it written down. I'm taking the Vikings here. I don't disagree
Lone
with you.
Wolf.
I'm scared of Kirk Cousins anytime after 3:30 p.m. Eastern
I didn't even
Standard
think of
Time.
it, I'll be honest.
Yeah.
I don't know if it would change my opinion because I don't think Mac Jones is also going to do anything. This might just be a game of interceptions and which defense can score.
Look
at Ramondre. Look for Ramondre to have a big game here.
Dalvin Cook too.
Yeah.
So
Fair enough.
I think you look at how Sunday afternoon went for Minnesota, and to be removed off of television in most markets because you're just getting shellacked across the board. There has to be some redemption, right? and I think it's O'Connell, if I'm not mistaken, was a player for Bill Belichick early on in his professional coaching career. So I think there's some chemistry here, and Bill Belichick just has a way of just getting underneath any former player or young quarterback skin. So I think there will be a lot of contesting here. I think Mike has a good point. I think this is a game where you watch Belichick take away Justin Jefferson. I'm still taking the Vikings, but this is like a 10-3 game to me, fellas. I don't see this one being super exciting, and it's perfect because everybody's going to be asleep by 9:30 anyway because they're just going to be full of tryptophan, so it'll be fine.
I love it. All right. I love being the lone wolf on this one, at least. I'll be interested to see who Aaron takes on this one. I think I know which way he's going to go. But moving forward into the Sunday slate of games, this is a pretty interesting matchup for me here, but I think I know which way I'm going. So I'll lead this one off, then Mike will kick it to you. We've got Atlanta on the road taking on the Washington Commanders, and a team that has surprisingly found themselves with a winning record. They look at a 4.5-point spread as the favorite here. 74% of the money going towards Washington right now. I love Taylor Heineke, man. I love Taylor Heineke. I love the fucking wild card way that he plays. Just this dude that he just fucking has grinded his whole life to get to this point. He almost beat Tom Brady in the playoffs a couple of years ago. He's just kind of a wily guy that I love. Yeah, he's going to turn the ball over. Yeah, it's going to happen. But I just like the opportunity that he gives that team. And I really am a big fan of all of the weapons that Washington has started to develop. I love Jahan Dotson. I love obviously Scary Terry's out there. The running back duo that they got there in Washington. I just like this team. And who can't root for Ron Rivera? Kyle Pitts is out. I'm going with the Commanders here, Mike. What do you think?
I'm also going Commanders. I don't think that the Falcons just have a pass defense that can do anything to Terry McLaurin.
Yeah, they're all injured, right?
They're all injured.
Yeah.
And I don't believe in that defense at all. I think we watched the Panthers throw on them. If the Panthers can throw on you, then I think the Commanders can throw on you. So I'll take the Commanders. Don't feel super great about it because I think the Falcons can be spicy at times.
Yeah.
Man, if you're asking me like what I think's gonna happen, I think the Commanders are gonna throw the ball on them. They might throw a couple of picks, but I think they're gonna throw for like 3 touchdowns and 300 yards too.
I like it. Todd?
Yeah, I'm taking the Commanders. I would say that Kyle Pitts being on IR is a big, tailspin for the Falcons, but they don't use him.
They don't.
They don't use him. They don't use him correctly.
Does he average 20 yards?
Yeah,
it's a fucking crime.
Insane.
It's a crime against humanity. He's the greatest tight end prospect that we've seen fucking a generation.
Oh my God, I loved him in the draft.
Oh, me too. Absolutely.
Yeah. You're talking to two guys that stroked the Kyle Pitts ego for an hour one night. Yeah, it was nuts.
If I even lobbied, I was like, it should make sense for the Bengals to take him. Like he's a guy that can absolutely change an offense, but they just refuse to use him in a manner that makes sense, and it's so frustrating. So frustrating. So we're all taking the Commanders here, but Mike, I got a question here. When do we see? Should we see? Does it make sense to see Desmond Ridder this season?
To me, it makes sense to see it, but they're still in the NFC South race, technically. Buccaneers just can't pull away. So I think you're going to keep seeing Marcus Mariota because he probably gives them the better chance to win, and they're going to think that they're able to compete, even though, maybe. Think eventually those Bucs are going to pull away.
Yeah, I made the comparison not in the sense of trajectory of career, but kind of in the same sense of rookie quarterback management to that of Patrick Mahomes, where he sat the entirety almost of his first season. I think he played 2 or 3 games at the tail end, and it was the expectation that moving forward, seeing as this is where our season ends, we are moving forward with this person as our quarterback. And I kind of see that same trajectory for Desmond Ridder. Would you agree?
For the most part, he was a 3rd-round pick. I think is the one thing that's different is that they almost don't even have to play him at all this year because if he's a good backup, that's kind of an okay pick in the 3rd round. But I don't think they're in a spot that they're going to get a quarterback. So it's like, do you really care about seeing if Desmond Ridder has it this year, or you can wait till next year because you're probably going to be picking late teens.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. Moving forward to an NFC North rival, they are hosting the Jacksonville Jaguars. Of course, I'm talking about the Baltimore Ravens, who are a 4-point favorite on the road in Jacksonville. Lamar, I don't believe, practiced today with a little bit of a hip injury. Mike, have you heard anything about that? Seen anything about that at all?
No, I have no idea about this.
Okay, yeah. I guess Lamar is not available to practice today. Obviously, they've got plenty of time for him to get back. It could be just a rest day, or maybe a little bit of chess matchup that's being played there by the Ravens. Who knows? But Todd, we'll lead this off with you. Assuming Lamar's in the game, this has got to be a pretty easy pick, right?
Yeah, look, I'm taking the Ravens, but I got to tell you guys, I was very underwhelmed by that Ravens offense on Sunday. Very, very underwhelmed. It was painful to watch. Number one, so I watched Carolina flood the box, right? So you throw 7 or 8 in the box, you shut down Katie Drake for the most part. Lamar Jackson doesn't use probably his best asset and just fucking running the football. He refuses to run the football.
He finally did at the end.
Yeah, when they scored.
Yeah, when they scored.
And then on the drive that they scored, yeah, he ran the football. It's the same thing he did against the Bengals in the fourth quarter. If you guys remember, he didn't run the ball at all after that first drive when they scored, and then he didn't run again until that last drive in the fourth quarter. And I watched them fail time after time after time. And, I listened to, Isaiah Likely dropped a wide open pass over the middle. And I think it was it Greg Olsen was calling the game. It was like, oh, that's a drop that changes the momentum of a drive. I'm like, who gives a shit? They haven't got the ball past the 50-yard line against statistically one of the worst defenses in football. So yeah, look, if we weren't talking about a Ravens team that's going to have that now has Roquan Smith, and a healthy secondary, I would be a little bit more concerned about them going into Jacksonville. But that defense is top tier now. I mean, just adding Roquan Smith just makes them so dangerous. And we've talked about Trevor Lawrence is just hit and miss week over week. He's hit and miss. And I don't know if you guys saw, but the Jaguars signed Darnell Henderson today to back up Travis Etienne Jr. That's their new third down back in Jacksonville. So they've done a little bit to get a little bit deeper, but I just don't think they compete with Baltimore. Mike?
I'm going to take the Ravens, but I think if I was going on the spread, I might take Jags. I'm not surprised if the Jags win this game because they can.
I agree.
Because the Ravens don't. I know they're a good team, but they just don't look it almost most of the time. What I saw was Lamar's dealing with an issue, but will play Sunday according to John Harbaugh. So I'm not too worried there. Although I guess I wouldn't be that surprised if he misses if he's getting a DNP. But I think it's too much for the Ravens will pull it out. But I would not be surprised if this is a 3-point game, and I wouldn't even be surprised if the Jags can pull this win out because I know that the Ravens kind of match up well. You can put Marlon Humphrey in the slot on Christian Kirk, and now the Jags have no weapons other than their running backs. And because Marvin Jones, not doing it too much on the outside. But I just don't think the Ravens offense is going to blow them out or anything. I think the Ravens offense is kind of going to do enough to win. But if Trevor Lawrence can play a little hero ball, make something happen, win that game, I wouldn't be that surprised. But I'll go Ravens.
I'm kind of picking up what you're putting down here, and I also think that Jacksonville sees what Carolina was able to do against that Ravens team and to hang with that team, and maybe there's a little bit of confidence coming into this matchup, thinking that we're a better team than Carolina. We can hang with these guys for most of the game, and we can close it out. Obviously, Jacksonville is not really great at closing games out, but I'm going out on a limb here, boys. I'm taking a shot at Jim Beam, and I'm taking the Jaguars with an upset, baby. The Jaguars are coming out with a win and helping the Bengals out. Woo, let's go. All right.
Main issues are like 1-6 in their past 7 games.
There's Jim Beam involved. That didn't cross through Corey's brain.
So what you're saying, Mike, is they're due. Okay, yeah, that's what you're saying.
Exactly
they're due. All right. Moving forward, this is a game kind of interesting. We got a new quarterback, the Bengal killer, Mike White, taking the helm there at a -6 spread as the Jets.
How is that possible still?
Host Justin Fields and the Chicago Bears at 1:00 there in New Jersey. Mike, go ahead and lead us off. I'm interested. What out of what you've seen out of Justin Fields? Why do you think Zach Wilson was benched? Go ahead. Anything that you want in relation to this game. Take it away.
To be honest, I don't watch either one of these teams very often.
Love it.
I think Fields has really, really impressed as a runner. I think he's kind of more so been like okay as a passer, and that's better than what he was. they're still losing every game, even though he's playing well. So I'm going to go Jets. I know it's Mike White, but I'm almost like, well, it's the Bears defense. What's worse between the two? I guess we're going to get the stoppable object versus the movable force here. And I think the Jets have the pass catchers and guys to be able to run that are going to score enough to win this game. Might be another okay game for Fields, but he's really banged up. He's got the hamstring, the shoulder, everything. Zach Wilson benched probably a little bit for the on-field play, maybe a little bit for the off-field comments.
A little bit of that press conference. Yeah.
A little bit of the press conference, a little bit of everything that's going on there. But I don't know if Mike White's really going to be a downgrade. It might be an upgrade compared to what he was doing. So I'm gonna go Jets.
Yikes. I'm leaning the same way as you on this one. I honestly it has nothing to do with who's playing the quarterback. I think that Jets defense is legit. Yeah. I think it is a great defensive unit there, which, as three Bengals fans sitting here and looking at what our offense was able to do against that Jets defense, obviously earlier goings in the season, but very productive to say the least. But nonetheless, I do feel that Mike White is going to be able to manage this offense more effectively. He's been around the program, 1 year longer. Am I correct in saying that he's been around?
This is year 3 for him. Yeah.
Okay.
I figured last year was his rookie year because I never heard of the
guy. But I'm gonna take the Jets in this one as well. Todd, who you got?
Look, I'm taking a hilltopper here, fellas. I'm taking the Jets.
All right.
I'm taking the Jets, and it's not for Mike White. I want to make sure I specify that. I want to go on record saying that Mike White is going to beat the Bears. This Jets defense is the real deal, fellas. Yeah. It is very nice. Everything's fluid. Saleh is a great defensive-minded coach. He's got things figured out on that side of the ball. The problem is that you're down your best weapon with Breece Hall, right? So Michael Carter and James Robinson don't equate to Breece Hall just at all in that game and their running game. And, they have the offensive specialist to fix it, but God, you got to give him the fucking football. And hopefully Mike White's better at it than Zach Wilson, because watching Zach Wilson throw a football is painful. It's painful, boys.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Hurts my soul. I think I could get out there and throw some shoulder pads on me. I might be just a hair more accurate.
I don't know about that.
I don't know. It's worth a shot. Look, I'm a free agent. Give me a shot. Come on.
Hey, I mean, every draft night, I keep my phone charged. I keep it right next to me just in case. Duke's gonna give me a call one night and say, "Corey, it's time. You've been waiting, and we're gonna go Who Day." But speaking of Who Day, let's get into it, man. This honestly, I think that this might be one of my favorite matchups of the entire week. The spread has moved on OddsShark. Opened up Bengals -1.5. I'm seeing -2.5 now to the Bengals, but with 66% of the cash falling on the Titans plus the points. Mike, before we get into the actual, what we're looking for in this matchup, you're an offensive line expert and you're a guy that dives into the offensive line at least, and you love watching it, a massive fan. We talked about the Lions, and the first thing you talk about is, I want to see how Penei Sewell plays. But I want you to talk a little bit about what you've seen from this Bengals offensive line from the shock and awe abysmal start that was, I believe, 13 sacks in the first 2 weeks against TJ Watt and the Steelers, Micah Parsons and the Cowboys. Moving forward, a couple of bumps in the road, but what you've seen over this offensive line and their development over the last 10 games.
Yeah, I think they started off rusty and no good communication. It almost showed up more in the run game that they're bad at communicating with each other. It'd be like the guy thinks he has help, so he just gives a little stiff arm as he goes to the next level, and then the other guy is just blocking somebody else, and that guy just runs free. Like, what? You just let me go? And then Collins was especially rusty, and he's still not where he was in Dallas, but he's playing better now. Jonah was rusty to start the year. You think of that first game where he gives up like 3 sacks. And I know he didn't have a great game. He didn't have a great couple of weeks in a row against Garrett and then Burns, but he had a good week last week against Highsmith. Volson looks like a better player than he was early on, even though Cam Hayward's going to do what Cam Hayward thinks. This is Jeffrey Simmons, so he's probably going to do something similar. But Karras and Kappa, I think, have been at least solid throughout the entire year. But they're all just gelling better. I think what the real thing is just they're not having all these miscommunication issues. They're picking up stunts. They're working well together in the run game. Like we already talked about in screens, they're getting out there in the open field and doing what they got to do. So I think this offensive line is much better than it was week 1 and 2, where I think a lot of people might have developed their opinion on this offensive line. Right now, I'd say it's probably about a league average unit.
Yeah, and I think going into the season, that's kind of where a lot of people had this offensive line charted was league average. And if you're a Bengals fan and you're thinking, well, shit, we went to the Super Bowl last year with a bottom third, if not even worse, bottom 5 offensive line. We've got a midway decent offense. Let's fucking go. Like, there's a lot of excitement around that. So the obvious letdown of what we saw in the early goings there moving forward in the improvements has got a lot of people excited there. Let's kind of flip that over to the other side of the coin and talk a little bit about the Titans. Last year going into that divisional round matchup, the thing that we talked about a lot going into it was all of the crazy stunts that the Titans like to do on the defensive line. They like to start guys here and then slide them over the top and bring guys in different gaps than where they're lined up and make things confusing to an offensive line. Is this really a massive test to see, a litmus test, if you will, to see how well is this offensive line gelling? What are the Titans going to try and bring into the Bengals going into this matchup?
I would assume they probably try to use a similar game plan. My issue for it is Danico Autry was a DNP, and he is as good as Jeffrey Simmons is as a pass rusher. I think Danico Autry is their best setup man on stunts, crashing, taking 2 guys with him, just being a monster that way. Jeffrey Simmons, definitely their best one-on-one type pass rusher. He'll dominate that, and he's probably a little bit better in the run game, but Autry's a little more versatile. He's such a good player that, like, when I watched them, I almost had Autry like not even a full tier below Simmons, as good as Simmons is. It was like he's kind of like a half tier below, where it's like, this guy's a beast. Nobody's talking about him, but this is one of the key cogs of their defense. And he played last week against the Packers. Looks like he might not play this week. It's early. We don't know for sure, but if he misses, that's huge for me. I think they're also down Harold Landry, who's a pretty good pass rusher himself on the edge. They've got Bud Dupree, but Bud Dupree's always been more of a run defender to me. So, I think they're going to come with a similar game plan. I think they're going to try to attack the communication of the Bengals offensive line, but this is a different Bengals offensive line. They're not starting Isaiah Prince. They're not starting Hakeem Adeniji. They're not looking at Jackson Carman. He's a healthy scratch. So there's better communication. There's smarter, better players on this offensive line. I'm not sure it will work the same. I'm sure there will be some stuff that works for them. They've got talented players and they're very well coached. I don't see 9 sacks. I don't see 5 sacks. I think you're talking like 2 or 3, in my opinion.
Yeah, so that's an interesting point. And I had appeared on shout out to Second and Victory podcast. I had appeared on there. The episode just released today. Go and check that out. But we had talked about what is the game plan for the Titans going into this matchup. And Todd, I want your opinion on this. And I laid out a path to victory for the Titans, and then I kind of tweeted about it a little bit later. It said the path to victory for the Titans is, one, you need to keep the Bengals offense off the field. This is they want anything but a shootout is what the Titans want. The Titans have scored 27 points one time this season, and that is against the Green Bay Packers last week. And I have news for you, gentlemen. The Green Bay Packers defense is not the Bengals defense. It is not even relatively close to the same level of caliber of defense that Lou Anarumo is going to be bringing into Nissan Stadium there on Sunday. But the path to victory is hit Joe Burrow and lean on time of possession, drive the clock, drive Derrick Henry, keep the Bengals offense off the field. But then I say that's exactly what they did in the divisional round. That is exactly what they did. They kept it low scoring, and they hit Joe Burrow a lot. I think 9 sacks in that divisional round. And then what happened? Evan McPherson puts one through the uprights to send the boys to Kansas City. So, Todd, going into this matchup, what are you looking for? And then let's go ahead and let's hear your pick on this one.
Yeah, so here's the thing: is that it's purely run defense for the Bengals, right? You have to manage Derrick Henry. You don't beat Derrick Henry; you manage him. And that means that you're giving up less than 75 yards on the ground for him, or you're providing less than 3 yards a carry for him on those first down plays, where he's averaging almost 4.5 yards a carry right now as you go into this game. Derrick Henry does a lot of his eating early in the game, getting out, being explosive immediately, and creating his own lane. That's where he kind of eats and he gets Tennessee comfortable into a game. Because here's the thing, guys. We watch Ryan Tannehill try to play down, right, or play a close game, and he doesn't play close games well. He's not that kind of quarterback. He's not the guy that when there's 2 minutes on the clock and you're down 3, that you feel comfortable him getting you 45 yards to get to a field goal.
At the same time, he's not a quarterback that's going to lose you the game. He's got 4 interceptions all year.
Wow,
right.
He did throw 3 against the Bengals.
He's got 4 all year now, though, is what I mean. Yeah, no.
Right. That's what I was alluding to.
Last year, he had 19 interceptions going into that game against the Bengals. He's only got 4. I'm just saying that it is a step forward for Ryan Tannehill. Let me be very clear. I don't think Ryan Tannehill is anywhere near the upper echelon of quarterback. I think he's Andy Dalton. I think he's, prior to this year, Derek Carr. I think they're in the same – I think he's Kirk Cousins. I think they're exactly the same type of quarterback.
You named I always think Derek Carr, Kirk Cousins, and Ryan Tannehill are kind of the same guy.
I think Andy Dalton used to be, but when he was a younger guy, I think he was in that same conversation. I don't think he's a guy – I mean, well, throwing in the winterceptions there, pretty shriveled in the big time spotlight at times, but nonetheless, those middle tier guys, they're not the Bradys, the Rodgers, the Brees, et cetera. But at the same time, they're not a guy that's going to just absolutely be a dumpster fire for you the whole way. Todd, go on.
Yeah, no, I just think that where the Bengals can beat the Titans, right, is specifically being able to outmatch Ryan Tannehill. You're not going to outmatch Derrick Henry. You're managing Derrick Henry. So I think if you could keep him off the field, right, the opposite, right, you keep Derrick Henry off the field as much as possible, and you do manage the clock. That's kind of your recipe. And even if it is P-Ryan coming out of the backfield, if it's P-Ryan and Travion Williams coming out of the backfield this week. We watched Samaje run. He runs the ball well. He ran the ball well.
I love the way he runs the ball. I love the way he runs that football.
The thing is that he doesn't run the ball much different than Joe Mixon has going in. Or I'm sorry, let me rephrase that. Joe Mixon did against Carolina, and then early on in that Pittsburgh game prior to the concussion than what we watched him do last year. I think we watched a different Joe Mixon early in the year. Mike, I don't know if you feel this way too, but when I watched Joe Mixon early on, it was a lot of hesitation. And I think a lot of that comes again from communication on the offensive line and lack of trust and fluidity and things like that come with having, 60% of a new offensive line. A running back relies really heavily on confidence. Right? They rely on the confidence of an offensive line to give you 3 yards no matter what, because a good running back is guaranteed 3 yards no matter what. 4 is ideal because 3 times you get 4 yards, you're in a first down no matter all the time. But P-Ryan runs I think that he runs very north and south, which I think is
hard. Yeah.
Yeah, which is good. That's important right now because I think that you take advantage of where Tennessee falters just a little bit and committing to the pass defense and committing to kind of stacking the interior of the box a lot. That's what I watched them do against the Bengals last year, which created 9 sacks, was getting really tight together and creating interior pressure. That's where they ate. If you can figure out how to continue the interior pressure of Tennessee and get P-Ryan to the 5 and the 6 hole kind of on the outside there, I think you do really well in the run game. I'm not overly concerned with the Bengals' ability to get to the second level against Tennessee this year. I think we're still watching a different and more evolving Joe Burrow week over week. I watched him against Pittsburgh be better less than 15 yards, right? Because Joe Burrow could do it deep. He could do it on an extended play. But where Joe Burrow is still learning how to be into the elite category of an NFL quarterback is that 8 to 14 yard mark. How effective are you of getting the ball to the sideline to get out of bounds, to just continue the ball, to continue continue the series, or to get the ball on 3rd and 7 to get that to the right person so you're continuing the drive. And I watched Joe do that really, really well on Sunday. And to me, that's the best sign from him, because I think that's where he kind of faltered and inconsistency. So I'm taking the Bengals here. I'm taking the Bengals by 6. That's where I'm at.
Interesting. So, Mike, lots to unpack there, but I want to know, like, let's say Mixon's out. Like, what is it that you've seen from Samaji that you're like, I like the way this guy runs, or I have concerns with the way that when he's getting the rock versus when Mixon is. What are you looking for there?
I think Samaji is a high floor type guy where he'll get you the yardage that's on the field. I think Mixon does a better job of setting up his second level blocks, things like that, where he takes that extra jab step outside to go back inside type stuff.
He's patient. He's more patient.
Samaje is more of a guy that's just gonna run right through it and probably end up going down because multiple guys are gonna grab him. But he's a high floor guy. I don't think the run offense will be bad from the Bengals offense if Samaje is in there, just because it's Samaje Perine versus Joe Mixon. I think the one thing we haven't talked about is this Titans offensive line is much worse than it was last year. You've got Taylor Lewan's injured for the year, so you've got. That's right. I think that's Radins over there.
That's why you're here, Mike. This is why you're here, buddy. You're giving these
for the offensive line.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Thank you.
One of my favorite players, Roger Saffold. He's with the Bills now, and he's not who he once was, but he is so cool to watch. Now it's Aaron Brewer, and that's a guy they're probably looking to replace next year. Ben Jones, a year older. He's like 36. And the athleticism just keeps slipping a little bit away. They still got Nate Davis. That's one of their holdovers. He's a good run blocker, okay pass blocker. And then right tackle is different too. Instead of David Quessenberry, who I don't know what PFF does. He was like their number one right tackle. And I did not see that at all. I don't know what that was about. But he signed with, I believe, the Bills. And now they're starting Nicholas Petit-Frere over there, a rookie.
Yeah, rookie, third round pick rookie at right tackle as well, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes. So
who beat out Radins for the starting job, if I'm not mistaken.
Before Luan got hurt, he was the starter and Radins was the backup. Now Radins, I believe, has to start at left tackle because of the Luan injury. Oh my goodness, that sounds like such a weak unit.
He's not starting at left tackle according to the Titans faithful. No, he's a gap guy. He's filling in at different spots across the offensive line.
That's not
in
good.
Different spots. Yeah,
who's starting at left tackle for them right now?
Yeah, that's they had mentioned it last night, but what they told me is that it's not good. And so my bold prediction is Trey Hendrickson with 3 sacks tomorrow or on Sunday.
Well, the left tackle, I just looked up Dennis Daly.
Yes,
I have never heard of that guy in my life.
He struggled.
It says Radins is a starter at left guard right now. Did Brewer get benched? That I have no idea.
Radins has been playing well, according to the Titans faithful. So, for what that's worth, he's been playing well. He'll be the left tackle of the future, according to them, if they had it their way.
He can't take over Dennis Daly's job, but he's the left tackle of the future. That's kind of my thought on that, but all right. I think Trey Henderson versus Dennis Daly is a pretty big mismatch.
Yeah.
That's the one thing I think of. It's just I don't think this offensive line, they already – last year, DJ Reader was healthy. I don't think he looked healthy against the Steelers. I thought he looked okay, and he was okay to play, but he didn't look like DJ Reader. If he's a little bit healthier and he's putting up the same stuff he did against the Titans last year, that's unstoppable against this offensive line. If it's a little bit worse than that, we'll see. I think the Bengals win because I think this Titans offensive line won't be able to block as well as they should be able to.
Yeah, that's an excellent point. And I honestly, the biggest thing that we're not talking about right now is Jamar Chase. This is a huge addition if he's going to be back for the Cincinnati Bengals, and just what he does to defensive schemes when you're coming in to think about what are you going to do against this offense. Okay, well we're gonna shut things. And I mean, you hear Joe Burrow say it in conferences all the time or in interviews with the press all the time. Okay, you're going to shut us down on the outside. I'm going to go TB and Hayden on the inside. Okay, you're going to lock things down on the inside and try and get pressure. You're going to go one-on-one with T. Higgins and Jamar Chase. Good luck. I don't know what to tell you. If Jamar Chase is back, it completely changes everything. Maybe he might be a limited snap count type deal, but when he's on the field, regardless, even if it's just kind of out there as a dummy or a Trojan horse, if you will, just out there to distract, you have to respect that as a defense. This Titans defense, since we're talking about defense, they're the number one ranked the number one ranked rush defense in the league. That I'm okay with that, because they're one of the bottom third pass defenses in the league.
I believe Christian Fulton was a DNP this week so far.
That's correct. That's correct. I don't believe he's going to be playing. So, I got to be honest with you guys. maybe it's a little bit of recency bias in what I've seen out of the Bengals coming forward, a little bit of the swagger out of Joe Burrow. I think this is a coming out game for the Cincinnati Bengals and an announcement that they are who the fuck we thought they were. And I think they go into a team that, honestly, a lot of people are looking at that spread and going, what? Why are the Bengals favored here going into this matchup? That's just so odd. And it's giving me such flashbacks to last week with the Cowboys going into Minnesota and they're favored. People are like, why is that happening? I'm not saying we're going to witness a 45-3 just walloping right here like we saw last week in Minnesota, but I do see a comfortable victory here for the Cincinnati Bengals. And I'm excited to be there live at Nissan. It should be a lot of fun. So we're going with a clean sweep for the Queen City there.
Yeah, I think the Titans are disrespected by that line, but I'm also like, I would take the Bengals.
Yeah, -2.5. Yeah. You're going to give me 16-16 with a Evan McPherson field goal to make it a 3-point win? Okay, we'll take that.
Sure.
Yeah,
Seen
we're
it before.
3.5. I feel a little more nervous about it, but like 2.5, like, yeah, I'll take the Bengals.
I dig it. All right, cool. Moving on, we got 3 more for the 1 o'clock slot. We'll move through these a little bit more quickly. Funny note here, I believe Melvin Gordon was just released by the Denver Broncos.
Sure was.
This week. Heard a rumor on Twitter that it was because after the loss, Melvin Gordon goes in the locker room, decides he's going to put Future on a speaker and start playing Future.
I'm
Obviously,
pretty sure that was a ball sack sports type thing.
yeah, that's fucking hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. That's so fucking funny. Oh my God. Panthers frisky. They're a frisky football team, right? Obviously, you saw the Bengals lay 35 on them, but they take on the in the first half, and then they take on the Falcons on Thursday night, and in a monsoon sloppy game, just that defense looked electric. But I don't know what we're gonna get. We're getting Sam Darnold. Actually, is what we're gonna get.
Is this the worst matchup of the week?
I think it has to be. It has to be. But we have found a way, Mike, on this podcast to consistently find ourselves talking way too much about the Broncos. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it's like a car wreck. You can't look away from.
Well, the offense is a car wreck. That defense is really good.
Legit.
It's a top 3 defense.
Yes.
It's a top 3 defense. It's insane. I don't get it.
I don't get this game either. It's a bit of a quandary. I don't know where to go, but I got to go with the better defense and the quarterback that's seen way more reps. I got to go with the Broncos on this one, Mike. Am I crazy?
No, I'd go Broncos too, and this is going to be the worst game of the week in my opinion. I don't see how the Panthers are going to move the football at all, but if I know one thing about Sam Darnold, he's throwing a couple picks, and that'll
seeing ghosts.
That will just get the Broncos like a couple field goals. They'll win the game. I don't know if Russell Wilson throws a touchdown. I'm mad at Russell Wilson. He faced the Raiders and he couldn't throw a touchdown. I played him in fantasy because it's like the Raiders are averaging, like the opposing quarterback's averaging 25 points a game or something against them. And Davis Mills threw 303 against them. I'm like, oh, well, I mean, Russell Wilson's got to do something, right? No, the guy sucks in fantasy against them. I'm like, oh, I can't believe this. So I don't believe in him at all. I thought he was washed going into the season. I thought it was weird that everybody blamed everything on his thumb, but you're
speaking our language, Mike.
He was bad for a year and a half before that thumb. Like, he was awesome that half year in 2020, I think. And then the second half of the year, he fell off. And then he sucked before the thumb injury. And then they're like, well, it was his thumb. It's like, we kind of sucked before that, dude. And I thought it was a little bit washed. Didn't think it was going to be this bad. I'll be honest with you. Watching him now is like, ooh. That's brutal.
I took the under on the win-loss total coming into the season, but we are fully convinced as a podcast that Russell Wilson is a cyborg. He is artificial intelligence reincarnated through a human. He is a download software chip in his brain somewhere. He's just weird, man. He's just a weird fucking cat. I don't know what it is, but it sounds like we're both taking the Panthers on this one, Todd.
Broncos.
Okay, yeah. We're both taking the Broncos. I'm sorry, Todd. Are you with us? Are you going lone wolf on this?
Let's ride.
Let's ride. Next one, probably a pretty easy matchup to pick. We got the Houston Texans going into Miami. Largest spread of the week. Oh, no, it's not the largest spread. Excuse me. I digress. It's second largest spread of the week. We've got Miami favored by 13.5 with 87% of the cash going towards the Dolphins. Win-loss, I'm taking the Dolphins on this one.
Win-loss, easy Dolphins. It's Kyle Allen. I'd think about taking Dolphins with the spread, too.
Kyle Allen making his Houston Texans starting debut.
Yeah,
I'm
so
excited for Dameon Pierce. I guess that's the one Texan. Is that the one Texan? Him and the corner from LSU, Derek
Singletary or Stingley. Yeah,
Derek
thank you.
Stingley. Those are the two guys you watch on the Texans. You go like, that's fun, and then everybody else you just ignore.
Well, and can Tyreek Hill get another 100-yard game is basically kind of where we're at there with that. Is an amazing season, honestly, what they've been able to put together. We kind of talked about this last night on that Titans pod that I jumped on. And I'm curious your guys' thoughts. Is this Dolphins offense, rather, is that something that you can see going in late into the season? Like, I'm talking like cold weather football. They're going up north and taking on Buffalo at the end of the year. Is this their style of play? Is that something that can carry them throughout the postseason, or are they going to need to be able to lean on the running game a little bit more? And I'm not saying that the running game hasn't been effective for the Dolphins. What I'm saying is that it's clearly been a pass-heavy offense, and to their credit, it's been successful. But Todd, I mean, is this something that you can see this team going forward with?
Yeah, I think there's enough fluidity there. I don't see a lot of gaps regardless of seasonality, right? They don't run. It's not big breakout plays. That's the difference here is that, Tua and Jalen and Tyreek and Gesicki, they all eat on getting to the first down marker. It's not like these big, show out 45, 50-yard passes that they're throwing 5 or 6 times a game. A lot of it is just chip. And then you mix in Mostert and Jeff Wilson Jr., who actually both run the ball and they complement each other pretty well. I don't see there being any real hiccups getting into the winter months. I just, obviously when it's, you're playing Buffalo in January, you're not airing it out on, the first drive of the game. You're getting comfortable, but I've watched Tua be very effective without having to do what we watched him do really his first 2 years in the NFL and kind of scramble and, throw a cross-country pass, and you're like, what the fuck is he doing? He's gotten a lot better about being –
he's a lot more accurate.
Well, and he's staying within the chalk too, right? That's where I've watched him be better is he's staying within the hash marks, and he's actually making more consistent throws.
Mike, anything on this Dolphins offense that you've noticed over the year? I mean, it's pretty exciting offense, wouldn't you say?
I think so. My actual concern has nothing to do with the weather. My actual concern is you almost couldn't say it for a few weeks. This Dolphins offense didn't look good against the Bengals defense. Like they had 7 points through a half, and that was with Tua. And then Teddy came in and he was fine. Like that wasn't bad quarterback play.
They were actually better, I think.
They were by EPA per play. They were by a lot of metrics. But yeah, so
the eye test is all I had on it, but I appreciate you backing it up with statistics.
Well, look, I was at that game. And for some reason, the lady next to me kept handing me tall boys. I don't understand why. I got
that was actually Santa Claus is who that was.
Yeah, Santa Claus handed me about 5 tall boys, five Millers, and I was pretty gone by the end of that because I went to tailgate too. But yeah, when I watched it back, when I watched this, I'm just like, I think this Dolphins offense is really good. But when they play good defenses, which I think the Bengals defense, when they're fully healthy, I don't know without Chidobe Awuzie if they're going to be able to do this again. But when they're fully healthy, like if this Dolphins team plays the Jets, and I know they got the excuse because they didn't have Tua, if they play them with Tua, how good is that offense? Like that's my issue. Is just when you play in the playoffs, you're going to get a specific game plan against you. You're going to get everything thrown at you. You're going to get a good defense for the most part. The Chiefs probably withstanding. Their just offense is going to outscore you. But, you're probably going to get a good defense. Can they overcome a good defense that's preparing specifically for them? That would be my question. And I'm not saying they can't, but that would be my issue. This game easily, though, Dolphins. Like, what are we?
Yeah, no, they're a playoff team. I think they deserve a little bit of conversation. So I appreciate you guys.
They're the AFC East winner right now. And they're up a game and have the tiebreaker on the Bills.
They do.
Absolutely.
You're correct.
Absolutely. Another AFC North team competing this weekend. We're talking about Cleveland, who is hosting Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Bucs on the road, a 3.5-point favorite. Neither of these teams have impressed. Obviously, we saw the best of Cleveland, and we typically do as the Bengals. But a 3.5-point dog at home, 67% of the cash. going to the Buccaneers. Mike, what do you got on this one?
Bucks. I think they're making the running back change, and as much as Lenny has been a fixture in our lives for years, it's probably time because he has been very inefficient this year. And Rachaad White looked good last week.
He looked very good.
So the Browns' run defense is a joke outside of the Bengals games. I follow like 4 Browns writers, film guys, and every week I see them post these like ridiculously bad run fits. And then against the Bengals, of course, they're like gap sound. They do all this good stuff. But like last week, they're like the linebackers just falling down, and the defensive tackles are 7 yards downfield. It's just like, if you're going to do that against the Bucs, Tom Brady has no issue just handing that ball off to Rachaad White and letting him cook. And then on the other hand, Tom Brady's going to be Tom Brady too. He could still throw the ball. I don't think he's cooked. When I watch him, he still looks good. I just don't think the system around him has been good enough for him to do anything. He has low interception numbers. Well, the ball is actually coming off his hand well. I think that's the big one. When Drew Brees and Peyton Manning were cooked, they're throwing lollipops. Tom Brady's not throwing lollipops yet. So, in my opinion, this is a Bucs win, and I just don't think the Browns' offense will be able to keep up, and I don't think their defense, whatever, they don't wake up to play teams that aren't the Bengals.
Fair enough, Todd.
That's a fact. Yeah, I actually, if I'm giving fantasy recommendations, Rachaad White is my running back to start this week. I think we watched him in Germany a couple weeks ago feast outside of getting into the end zone. Again, we talked about aggressive style of runners. I think he's a very aggressive style of running back. Mike, I agree with you. I've loved watching Leonard Fournette, but going into the season, he got a new nickname. His new nickname is Thick Lenny. Thick Lenny is a much different running back than Slim Lenny. And we watched him struggle all year long. And I agree with you. The passing of the torch it's fine. I think you get a value pick in Rachaad White, and you get a good receiving running back that fits very well into Tom Brady's scheme. And I agree with you. I watched Cleveland just get absolutely roasted in the running game, and I think
by the Bills. The Bills don't have a good running attack.
Yeah, they're not supposed to.
Yeah.
And I think you're going to watch a lot more of that. I think you're actually going to see both of them get involved. I think you're going to even see Vaughn get a little bit involved in the third down passing game for Tampa Bay as well. But yeah, I actually think the Bucs more than cover the spread in this game in Cleveland.
Interesting.
In the tarnished dog pound, if you will, because of the damages.
No, I actually feel like this one's going to be a little bit closer because I just haven't been impressed by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers throughout most of the season. Every time I bet on them, they let me down, to be quite frank. But that being said, I'm going to follow the money in a toss-up game like this. I'm going to follow the money. I'm going to follow Vegas. I'm going to take Tampa to win this one as well. Moving forward to possibly two of the more disappointing teams in the NFL this season. Let's keep things live here. The Chargers going on to take on the Arizona Cardinals. Chargers a 3-point favorite, 86% of the cash going towards the Chargers. On this one, dude, guys, like going into the season, I've just been sick of this narrative that Justin Herbert and Joe Burrow are on the same platform because I don't see it. And maybe Joe Burrow has a benefit of being around a better defense, but that narrative was just not even there in the first half of his career. I'm talking the first year and a half, obviously being in year 3, but I don't know, Mike, am I off the mark here that I respect Justin Herbert. I think he's a solid quarterback, but I just don't think they're on the same platform. Am I crazy?
I've got him in the same tier. I think what Justin Herbert does with they're different quarterbacks. And I think it's almost weird that Joe Burrow is more willing to push the ball down the field than Justin Herbert, big arm Herbert, is.
Yeah.
But I do think Herbert takes good care of the football, and he, I guess until the last drive of the game, and then he avoids sacks. He avoids sacks a lot of the time. He does a better job avoiding sacks than Burrow. Like he knows exactly when to get rid of the ball because he doesn't have that great of an offensive line either. But I got it around the same tier. Whoever you want. Like
Tez, thanks for liking the stream, buddy. Sorry, Mike, go ahead.
Oh, this game though,
yeah,
Chargers easy, right? Like, look,
it has to be easy now.
Warzone's out.
Is it?
Kyler's taking a break. Warzone 2 came out. Modern Warfare 2 came out. He hasn't played in a couple weeks. I just think this Cardinals team is the disappointment. Like the Chargers are a little disappointing, but the Cardinals, they look bad. They don't just look like an average team when we thought they were supposed to be good. Like this looks nothing close to a playoff team.
So we have a rule here on Rally Tile Sports, Mike, and I want to let you know this is the first episode that we're actually going to be able to enact this rule.
Yep.
We have a specific rule related to the Cardinals. It is that you do not bet on the red bird after you cut the bird. After Thanksgiving, you don't bet on the Cardinals. I don't care who they're playing. You don't bet on them at all. You don't touch it. You bet against them, actually. When what I'm saying is not that you don't touch their games. You don't bet on them to win. You don't bet on them to cover. None of it. Because over the last couple of seasons, under this Cliff Kingsbury realm, under this Kyler Murray realm, they've started out as one of the hottest teams in the NFL and have consistently shit the bed. Coincidentally, we're looking at their opponent, and we're kind of looking at the same fucking team here in that a team that the Chargers, they came out of, what were they, 5-2 to start the season last year and then went under 500 and didn't even make the playoffs. Kind of similar notes. So let me ask you this. For both of these teams, let's say neither of them make the playoffs, are their head coaches on the hot seat?
Cliff got that extension. What the hell was that about?
It's so crazy. I argue that it's
great question.
After this game, he should be fired. Not this game, but after this year, he should be fired. But they're not going to fire him because they just give him a 5-year extension.
Corey, maybe it hasn't been. I believe I've asked this question at least twice. Should Cliff Kingsbury be fired? I've asked on this podcast because I firmly believe that if they go under 500, he should be fired.
Yes. Probably not.
Right. I agree with you. I do, however, believe that Brandon Staley, if they don't make the playoffs, will be fired.
Really?
I think as long as Staley finishes 9
Look at this fucking
9.
Look at this NHL reference coming out of fucking left field. This is just beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Appreciate you coming in, buddy. You believe Brandon Staley will be fired?
I do. Yeah, you don't make the playoffs back-to-back years with. Here's the thing. I understand their defense is not good. Their run defense is horrendous, right?
Yeah, but defensive guru Brandon Staley's not helping that.
Well, and here's let me talk about that. So we knew, in the words of Bart Scott, that couldn't stop a fucking nosebleed with a pack of tissues going into this offseason. So what do, Mike? Let's add a pass rusher and let's add a corner because that's going to help us stop the run.
They added Sebastian Joseph Day. They added a run stopper a little bit.
Okay, fair enough. Where did most of the allocation of the funds go? Is what I'm alluding.
It went to J.C. Jackson more than anything, right?
Well, and Khalil Mack was a big splash signing as well. Obviously, I mean, I believe that was a trade. If I'm not mistaken,
I think J.C. Jackson gets paid more year over year based on whatever the parameters of position, all that shit. But
a lot of Bengals fans wanted J.C. in Cincinnati. I mean, I get it.
That was such a trap to me.
And they didn't do
huge
it.
Trap.
Patriots corner, and they didn't even offer him. I don't know about that. But Gilmore, at least they're offering him.
But what's the narrative in New England is that they're comfortable letting veterans walk. However, the narrative beyond that, the postlude to that is that those veterans typically don't go on to great heights after that, for sure. So, this is just a fucking dumpster fire game. But I got to go with the Chargers on this one as well. Todd, did you make your pick on this one?
Yeah, I'm taking the Chargers, fellas. I just can't see a world, whether it's Kyler Murray or Colt McCoy, where they beat Los Angeles. I think Herbert actually getting a healthy Keenan Allen back. We saw glimpses of it making this team a little bit better. I certainly hope Mike Williams can come back healthy, but I really like Jordan Palmer too, guys. I think he does well. Getting some open space. And obviously Austin Eckler does what he does. I believe he's up to 13 touchdowns now or 12 touchdowns this year, something ridiculous. So
he's fantastic, man. He's fantastic.
He's so fun to watch, guys. I love watching Austin Eckler get into open space and just strong arm people a head shorter than everyone else. I love it.
So exciting. Shout out to Best Bills Channel or Not for the $5 super chat. Thank you so much, man. Appreciate you.
Sir.
Yes, sir. So let's keep it rolling. We've been doing a really good job of just talking about these dog shit matchups. And we're kind of getting a little one here. It's just there's so many games that's why I think the Bengals Titans matchup really is one of the matchups of the week here. That being said, we got Vegas heading into Seattle to take on the Seahawks, and one of the most efficient quarterbacks in the league, Geno Smith, is one of the most efficient quarterbacks. 80% of the cash going towards the Seahawks, favored by 3.5 points. It's got to be the Seahawks, right, Mike?
Yeah, man, I think I'm picking all the favorites, but I'm picking the Seahawks. They've got the better quarterback. I'm bought in. Like, you could call it a fluke in the beginning, but we're at the point where I don't know if Geno Smith's thing is a fluke anymore. I think this is real stuff, and that Raiders defense sucks. So I think he'll be fine throwing the ball.
Boy, is it bad.
Yeah.
So here's a question: Pete Carroll, Coach of the Year?
Oh.
I know. It's just like fucking vomit sitting in the back of your throat.
The real Coach of the Year is to me like Andy Reid, but they'll never give it to him.
Go on.
Okay, they lost their best wide receiver. They still have an elite offense. I think people question that. I think they're the best. I think they're the best team in the league, and I think he does a really good job coaching it up. I
don't know, but here's the thing. I think going into the season, people expected the Chiefs to take a step back, and they haven't thus far.
Yes.
Right? They haven't thus far.
It was very trendy to pick any of the other AFC West teams to be your AFC West division winner.
Not this guy, but I will say that.
I agree.
I wasn't buying it. I thought the Raiders were going to be a lot better. I actually had the Raiders finishing second in that division, so egg on my face. I thought they were going to be a much more efficient offense. So, whatever. I was wrong. It won't be the last time, but it is the first time. But I will say that I don't think anybody's doubting the Chiefs right now. I don't think anyone's let me say this. I don't think anyone's underplaying where they are right now. I think everyone recognizes that they are the best team in the AFC right now. Do you not feel that way?
No, I do feel that way. That's
okay.
That's kind of why I pick Andy Reid, though, because
I'm sorry.
Part of that is just you know that when you're looking at the best coaches in the league, he's probably the best coach in the league, and he's coaching like it. He's got his team in a better spot than where they're supposed to be.
Okay, fair enough. And I guess the point is, Coach of the Year is typically like an unexpected pick. You know what I mean? It's kind of like comeback player of the year.
I agree. That's what the thing. I was just like, that's almost the disconnect with me, where I'm like, if I'm just picking the Coach of the Year, I'm picking the best Coach of the Year, and the best coach this year is Andy Reid. But it's hard to go against Sirianni, even though he's been a little disappointing right now. Dable's got the Giants in a better spot than they should be. I think McDaniel almost could be the 1 year and win Coach of the Year type thing, because he wasn't supposed to be doing this. I think if I was going to throw in a vote, I would do Andy Reid. But if I'm going to go by what the NFL Coach of the Year has been for the past, right now, I think I'll go Sirianni, because
Sirianni's not a bad pick. He's not a bad pick. My point is that Pete Carroll's in that conversation.
Absolutely.
They're leading that division.
Absolutely.
There's no one that in this planet that thought that the team was going to be
They
leading
were picked
the division.
as a bottom 5 team. That is
they're picking.
We
top 3 pick.
We talked about them being a top 5 pick in the draft going out of this season. So you're absolutely right.
And it was who's going to start, Drew Lock or Geno Smith.
So we got a shout out to the Blunder Boys. Awesome golf podcast coming out of the CLE, the 216. Cam, we appreciate you driving by. He says, why did it take so long for Geno to break out? Is it Pete Carroll? Is it that Russell Wilson is or why is it that Russell Wilson is struggling so much?
Geno, so he gets drafted by the Jets, right?
Rex Ryan.
Yeah. Dumpster fire. Mm-hmm. Goes from the Jets to the Giants.
Where he wasn't allowed to start.
Right. And then he goes from the Giants, and then I believe that's when Seattle signs him, and then you have to play behind Russell Wilson. Mm-hmm. So up to this point, he just hasn't really been given the opportunity to be successful, right? Because I don't know if you guys know, I think we're all probably around the same age range, but
we got 5 on him, Todd. We got 5 on him. He's a young pup. He's
Geno Smith.
No, I'm sorry. I thought you were talking about Mike. I'm sorry.
Oh, Dude, Gino's like, shit, dude.
My
I
bad.
feel like we were in college when Gino was in
This
college.
podcast is sponsored by Atwater Dirty Blonde. No, I'm just kidding.
But
I went to high school with Gino's in college, so yeah, I think
okay. So we're within 5 years. Let's call it 5. We were all watching football by then.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So if you guys watched Geno Smith at West Virginia, it was nuts.
It was awesome.
He was insane in
Right.
college, and that was at the point in time where West Virginia was. I mean, you're talking post Pat White. You're throwing for
Post Rich Rod.
300 plus yards a game. You're spread the ball all over the place. It was insane. So Geno coming out of West Virginia, you're like, oh my God, this guy can do everything. He's fast. He can throw the ball. He does it all. And then he gets into New York and he has Rex Ryan. He's like, you know what? We're going to slow it down. We're going to try to play not necessarily a West Coast, but something like a West Coast. And we're going.
I like that you're giving Rex Ryan a Southern accent here. This is
it feels comfortable getting there, but I just don't think Geno Smith has ever been given the opportunity to be successful. The game where Russ broke his thumb last year, he
played great.
He almost brought them back. I mean,
Arguably, he played better than Russell Wilson.
Yeah, so
I don't even think it's arguable at this point.
I think it's the first time Geno has real legitimate assets that are letting him take care of business, right? Kenneth Walker III has been a blessing for Seattle.
Oh, my God.
Insane,
Oh my God.
right? You had Rashad Penny before that, who was running the ball exceptionally well before the season-ending injury. Doesn't hurt that you have DK Metcalf, who's one of the biggest, fastest wide receivers in the game, and Tyler Lockett, who has the separation.
He's pretty good at football.
Yeah, so I just think Geno never got the shot before.
Not just that. If you remember, Geno got benched for Ryan Fitzpatrick because Fitzpatrick came in after the broken jaw, and he got them to a winning record for the first time in a million years since Joe Namath or something. And then it was Ryan Fitzpatrick's show. That's why he went to the Giants, and then the Giants were like, well, we can't bench Eli Manning, so you're not going to get your shot. And then he goes finally to Seattle, and he gets a shot. But what happened was he had 1 year, and then he got his jaw broken, lost his job, and he didn't get a shot again until now.
Right. Yeah, it's been 5 years, right? If I'm not mistaken. 17 to now, something like that.
Sounds about right. I mean, but nonetheless, he's playing great football. He's in top 10 and almost every meaningful quarterback statistic for this season. And the Seahawks are ahead of the NFC West, something that no one said that they were going to be doing. So I think we're going flush here on the Seahawks with this one. I'd probably even take them to cover at -3.5. Moving forward, we as a podcast, our Rally Towel Sports family on Twitter has dubbed them probably about 5 weeks ago as fraudulent enemy number one, the Los Angeles Rams. I don't think there's any question anymore that they are fraudulent. 15.5-point dogs going into Arrowhead against the Kansas City Chiefs. That said, 51% of the cash is on the Rams to cover. I mean, this is right down your alley, in my opinion, Mike. I think honestly, Andrew Whitworth being gone for the Rams, this is the beginning of the iceberg here for this problem in this offensive line. Am I wrong?
No, that's the huge one. But I thought one of their their second best offensive lineman left too, Austin Corbett. He went to Carolina.
Yeah,
he went to Carolina. That's right.
I think they've almost had more of an issue replacing him than they have Whitworth. Where at Whitworth they had Noteboom, they had the idea. Yeah, I don't think they had any idea what they were going to do after Corbett. Like he left, and they just went, I don't know. We'll just throw somebody in that spot. And I think that Noteboom hasn't been as good as they thought he would be with that contract they gave him. And this Rams team's bad. I think Bryce Perkins can be fun though. I think he can run the ball a little bit. He can do a little bit of that stuff. Like they're going to lose. They're going to lose bad, but you might get a couple highlights from the quarterback. That's how I feel. Without Cooper Kupp, without Matthew Stafford, without Darrell Henderson, who was their best running back, they cut the wrong guy. I don't know what Akers is doing. And then you've got easily Chiefs. I don't think
there's a whole lot of discussion as to who's going to win this game. I'm just more interested in the collapse of the Rams and Aaron Donald. Does you regret coming back this year?
What was that? Sorry.
Aaron Donald. Do you think he regrets coming back this season?
Oh, not more than McVay.
That's a moment for the YouTube shorts right there. I appreciate that one. That was beautiful. Yeah, I mean, take the TV deal, right? Is that where he's headed? Do you think?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, what's going on? When you look at McVay, it looks like he doesn't want to be there. It's just like
he's completely disengaged. Disengaged on the sidelines.
I think I heard this. I think it was Pardon My Take. It came with the point is, what'd you get Matthew Stafford in the Super Bowl? What it cost you everything? To the Rams.
They could have rode off into the sunset. At least like Aaron Donald's been on bad teams before and been able to produce. It's just what he's doing right now. It's just like, yeah, my team sucks. I'll just still get like 9-10 sacks this year and continue my Hall of Fame career. McVay is like, wait, I had $50 million waiting for me, or $100 million waiting.
It's still there. It's still there.
It's still there. I feel that way too.
Yeah.
Like John Gruden, he got his offer when he was pretty mediocre for years.
Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think McVay has I mean, he has the largest football IQ of any coach in the NFL, or at least in terms of being able to just recall anything and everything that could ever happen in the history of football. I mean, he could just do it all. But
I don't know. I think Bill Belichick could probably recite to you the 1920 Dayton Triangles roster.
There it is. There it is. Beautiful. Beautifully put. All right, we're running flush with the chop on this one. Next one, Blandy Andy has assumed the role as lead quarterback. He's got QB1 on him now in New Orleans. Honestly, I'm happy for Andy Dalton, man. He had the best game of his career, statistically speaking, last week for the Saints, going into a very tough matchup against a great defense in San Francisco, which leads it to be San Francisco favored by 9.5. 78% of the cash is taking San Fran to cover this one. I think we're all going to lean San Francisco to win this football game, but 9.5. That seems a little steep, right, Mike?
My first thought was I think I would look into that Saints money, not money line. the 49ers are winning this game, but I would look into the Saints covering. I mean, it could even be covered in garbage. Look at the Steelers didn't lose by 9.5 in the last game against the Bengals. If the Saints could do that easily, and then could it be a competitive game? Yeah, I mean the Saints defense sometimes is able to show up. And if they can show up and run defense and rushing the passer and making Jimmy G uncomfortable, like this could be a real game. That said, I'm like we all probably are. I'm going to go 49ers.
No, I appreciate it. But I want to get to a comment here in the chat. 1L Tez, thank you for coming in, man. He says he's a massive Rams fan, by the way, Mike. So he's coming in with we'll be back next year. Not really checked out like that. It's the injuries that pretty much wiped this season.
I don't think they look good when they were.
I don't know. I was gonna say, man, even before Kupp was out, even before Stafford was out, I don't know that team was. I mean, they didn't. I don't even think they had a winning record before all these injuries were coming out. They definitely weren't winning the division before Kupp was out for the season. Before Stafford's missed the last couple of games, it's just it might be one of the bigger Super Bowl hangovers, quote unquote, that we've seen in the recent times. We've more so seen these Super Bowl teams that have kind of hung around and kind of been in that conference championship realm for most of the part. Even the Patriots, obviously, towards the end of Tom Brady's stint there, they kind of hung around. Obviously, they made the playoffs and lost in the first round, and then Tom Brady goes to Tampa Bay. But, nonetheless, it's kind of been these teams that hang around. They're still up there in the top. The Chiefs have always been up there. The Buccaneers are still up in there. But this has been one of the more steep drop-offs, I think, over the last couple of seasons.
Yeah, but I sure would trade for that to win the Super Bowl instead.
I think I would too. Yeah, I think I'd sell my soul to the devil, and I would make that deal for sure. Yeah,
I would. Yeah. I would love to be coming on this podcast every Wednesday and say I have the Super Bowl champion shirt on because I would certainly wear it as many times as I possibly could.
It's going to smell real bad. Our team is going to be terrible. Yeah, sure. I'll take it. Yeah.
I don't give a fuck.
Give me that problem, please. Yeah. Please give me that problem. All right. Moving forward, we're all taking the Niners against the Saints. Green Bay against Philadelphia Eagles. Eagles are a 6.5-point favorite. Aaron Rodgers, the news is now that Aaron Rodgers has been playing with a broken thumb since week 5. That's insane. Pretty difficult to throw a football. Are you buying it? Are you saying no?
Oh, I think it's real. I don't think you look good before that either, though.
Okay. Fair enough. No, I think I've made the last couple of comments. I mean, last couple of weeks, I've made the comment that is specifically against the Titans. When I watch that game, I'm just like missing wide open throws to Sammy Watkins. Yeah. Then I hear the thing about the thumb, and I'm just like, okay, yeah, sure, I'm buying it. Like, why is that not popping up on the injury report beforehand? Why are we not hearing about this beforehand? Why is it coming out now? Is kind of the issue. Aaron Rodgers placing blame on most of his teammates throughout the season is just something that I've just grown to detest. I was a huge, prior to about probably week 7 or so last year, I was a big Aaron Rodgers. Like I'm a players guy. So whenever the players are standing up for their right to earn more, I'm always going to support that. I will always support the millionaires before I support the billionaires. But then the moment you start being a dickhead and the moment you start throwing your teammates under the bus and your head coach under the bus, I'm fucking out, man. Aaron Rodgers lost me on that shit. It's got to be the Eagles, right? I know they skated past the Colts last week, Mike, but you got to take the Eagles at home, right?
Eagles easy. I think I'd take them to cover.
-6.5. I dig it. Todd, where you at?
Yeah, I'm with Mike. I don't think this is a close one.
So Tez coming back into with a comment, Mike, and this is kind of right up your alley here. He says our problem has been pass and run blocking. You can't score if you don't have it. And we kind of alluded to that a little bit earlier, but anything more you care to comment on the Rams and their inability to have a productive offensive line?
No, I mean, like, that is one of the main issues. I think another issue is Stafford's elbow. He hasn't looked the same this year, but it's just when they are quote unquote as healthy as they're going to be this year, I don't think they were good. But some of that is the offensive line, but I think that's more personnel. I don't know if that's so much injuries, as Nobu didn't play that well when he was healthy. And then they didn't have a right guard plan, and he didn't play well. And then you get the injuries to David Andrews and all these other guys. Now, like, everybody's been injured, and it is a worse situation than it once was. But look, that offensive line looked terrible against the Bills, and that was when they were healthy.
That was a bad game. That was a really, really bad game. I remember I was so excited.
We all sat as close as we could to our TV on Thursday night, just waiting. We
watched that football's first drive. Back. Give it to me. Yeah.
We watched that first drive. We were like, me?
Oh, this is bad. And also after the game, we're just sitting there like, holy shit, the Bills are good. But then
we came back and said, like, oh shit, the Bills are crazy. And then now it feels a little bit different. But yeah.
So you know what I thought of when I watched, and this is going to be a stretch. I hope I remember the teams correctly. When I watched that Bills-Rams game at the start of the season, I was like, holy shit, the Bills are good. And I was like, wait, hold a second. Are the Bills really that good? Or the Rams, maybe they're kind of bad? And then I thought back, I was like, remember when Georgia opened up? I think it was the 2021 season. Georgia-Clemson started the season. And Georgia just kicked the fucking teeth in on Clemson. And we were like, holy shit. Is Georgia like just that fucking good, or is Clemson bad? Turns out both were true. And I think we might be looking at a little bit of that when we're considering a little bit of the same thing when we're considering the Bills and the Rams based on week 1. All right, moving forward.
Robinson, huge bust.
Dude, that's a shame, man. I had always thought it's like we're looking at a guy in Allen Robinson that has never had an opportunity to be around a quarterback, and it just turns out
Blake Bortles
doesn't matter.
Was his soulmate.
It's his best option. Blake Bortles.
Was he the best quarterback? No, but he was the best one.
He got him paid.
I don't know why.
I forgot about that. Yeah, he was in Jacksonville.
He got drafted. Yeah, he got drafted by Jacksonville. Traded
1,400 yards when he was like 20 years old or something.
I forgot about that.
Let's put some respect on Blake Bortles' name. Blake Bortles got Allen Robinson paid twice. So let's be very clear about this.
A retired Blake Bortles who's now just working construction ripping six. That's what he always wanted to do.
Yeah, he's working construction. I believe he's amassed over $45 million in his career.
I'll always respect him for beating the Steelers in that playoff game.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Right.
Weren't they in the AFC Championship game? Am I crazy?
Yes. They were a call of an interception versus incomplete pass from going to the Super Bowl.
You're right.
Fucking wild, man. Absolutely wild. God, I love this league. It's fantastic. All right. Finishing things up here, boys. There are just so many beautiful matchups that we've got this week. I think most of them are actually on Thanksgiving. Most of the good football games are on Thanksgiving, and then you got Bengals Titans. But we're finishing things off Monday night with Kenny Small Whopper Hands Pickett going against who we got fucking playing quarterback in Indianapolis now? Matt Ryan's back.
Yeah.
Matt Ryan's back.
Ice.
All right, so we got Jeff Saturday and the Indianapolis Colts playing host to Kenny Whopper Hands Pickett. I don't know if I need to believe in Jeff Saturday or if this team is just riding on a high, but one of the things that I do know is that the Steelers' offense is ineffective. It has been ineffective since week 1. They continue to not be able to maximize Najee Harris in the same way that they were able to maximize him last year. Mike, you've seen this team 2 times now in the Steelers. What is the disconnect on this offense?
Look, man. Sometimes you just got bad offensive coordinators, and they're not doing a lot for you. And
okay.
And from there, I don't think the quarterback's playing particularly well, although he's a rookie quarterback, kind of playing like a mid to late first round rookie quarterback. I don't know. The offensive line is okay at times. Sometimes it's not good. Sometimes it's kind of bad. But
how's the addition of James Daniels been for that offensive line?
I've never been the biggest fan, but I think this is his best year.
Okay. From the Bears, right?
From the Bears. He's always fine for the Bears. I thought he was going to get paid more than I would pay him, and he kind of did. But he's been better for the Steelers than he was for the Bears, and he's been their best offensive lineman. The issues have been Mason Cole and Dan Moore for the most part.
So who do you got in this one? Colts, Steelers.
Wow. This is a tough one.
It is tough. It is tough.
Not because it's going to be a barn burner, but when does the Jeff Saturday magic wear off? When does the Steelers are going to play better than I think they're giving credit for, because I just think they're a different team with TJ Watt.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think I'll go Steelers. I don't love it. I don't want to pick either team, but I don't think either offense can be that good. And the Steelers to me have the better defense when they're fully healthy. I know the season-long stats don't show that.
Todd?
Man, I honestly just wrote down the Colts because I feel the same way, Mike. I just don't know. I have no idea. You look at this.
It's also, let me put it out this way. It's Wednesday and we're picking games. Let me just be very clear about that.
I look at this game on paper and I just look at both teams and I'm like, how did this game not get flexed out, guys? Like
Monday night can't get flexed.
It's Monday.
Oh,
it's
that's
Monday.
Right. It's Sunday night that can. Monday night cannot.
Yeah. It's not a flexible game.
You're right. So why did it not get flexed out though? That's still a good question, right? Like, you could make the rule for this game, right?
ESPN's just like, nah.
But I don't know. It's just it's gonna be a hard game to watch on Monday night. I think you're gonna see really low viewership. But I wrote the Colts down. I'm gonna stick with the Colts for the time being. I think I'm taking quarterback play here. I think Matty Ice is the better quarterback over Kenny Pickett, just based on pure life experience, right? That's where I'm basing that off of. And I like JT over Najee right now. That's
as bad as this game is. At least we're not watching Broncos Panthers on Monday night.
Fair enough.
God, you're right.
Fair enough.
That's so
fair
true.
enough. You know, I'm gonna take the Colts as well on this one, but I'm gonna take them for a different reason. I honestly think that they are going to make that Steelers offense one-dimensional, which they do a good job of doing it on their own anyway. But I feel like that is gonna be the case. I think the Colts have a decent run defense, and I think that's gonna show up a little bit here. And they're gonna shut down any attempts to move the ball on the ground. They're gonna make Kenny Pickett win this thing early. The Steelers' offense has been a little bit stale. And Mike Tomlin said this in a press conference after the game against the Bengals. The Bengals kind of called him out on it and said that their offense is predictable. We were able to know what they were going to do because they kept running out in the same schemes and doing the same things. And Mike Tomlin said, yeah, well, we run out the same schemes, but if we can execute on them, then we can get a little bit more shiesty in the playbook. So the Steelers continue to not execute on the simple things, which makes it easier from a defensive perspective to defend that offense. So I got to think that there are some people that know what's going on over there in Indianapolis still, and they're gonna make some adjustments at least at halftime and shut the Steelers down, and the Colts walk out with a win on this one. And the Jeff Saturday magic continues. I mean, is this not the biggest slap in the face? I mean, Bill Cowher went on a soliloquy about it on CBS. Is it that crazy, Mike, that they went for Jeff Saturday as a head coach?
I have no idea. Look, Jeff Saturday was a high school head coach, and he went like 7-7 or something.
Won a playoff game.
Won a playoff game. All right, sure. I don't know. You can tell me anything that he did, and I'll believe you.
Yeah.
As long as it's not won the state championship, because I know that didn't happen. But I don't know. Like, there's so much to being a head coach that's not scheme, that's not all this other stuff. There is a lot of just rah-rah, get your guys ready and get them going type stuff, get the culture. And maybe he's really good at that. And he's also smart. He was a center, and he played really well in a high-level offense. All that said, I don't know. He wouldn't have been my choice.
Right.
I think the magic runs out. But whatever. No idea. I don't think that's who they should have gone with. And I almost do think it was almost a hit job on Frank Reich, because it was, you got to start Sam Ehlinger. And Ehlinger does predictably bad. And they're like, well, you're fired. And then they bring in Saturday, and he's like, you can have Ryan. Like, he's not good, but it's just like, you can have competent quarterback play.
Interesting. Yeah. No, that's an interesting
because
perspective.
the whole thing was shut down so he doesn't get hurt, so you don't have to pay him next year, right? That was the whole –
and then they bring him back.
The whole gamut of why you shut down Matt Ryan, because you're like, I don't want to pay this guy that dead cap space that we're supposed to pay him, and now you're just alluding to it. What stops Matt Ryan from just going into March and saying he's injured? I don't know.
Honestly, here they sit at 4-6. They're not that far out. They can sneak into 7. They still have games against Jacksonville, and I think they have 2 games against Jacksonville still on the docket.
No,
and
that was the Texans.
That was Texans. They got 2 more. They got 2 more against Jacksonville and 1 game against the Texans as well. They're a 4-6 football team right now. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but they're not done yet. Is my point, statistically speaking. So that's all we got for tonight, ladies and gentlemen. We've eclipsed the 2 hours. Mike, I appreciate the marathon of podcasting that you just decided to go on us with. We do this every Wednesday, believe it or not. And I appreciate you stepping out of your element a little bit and coming in and giving us some insight. And it's been fantastic just chatting ball for you with you, rather, and kind of tell us where we can find you, what's next for you, where your regular podcasts, and where can everybody hear you?
If I'm my podcast anywhere, it's always Game Day in Cincinnati would be the one to check out, because that one's my podcast. And you can find me at Twitter at Bengals_Sands. That's where pretty much everything goes. I know I mentioned maybe less clips, and what I'm talking about is less than 90 clips a week and down to like 10 or 20, something like that. So I'm not spamming too much, but a lot of good content. The people like it. So if you're a Bengals fan, you probably will too.
That's awesome, man.
I can speak for Corey and I both. We both like it.
No, we appreciate it, man. And again, thank you for spending this time. I know typically a time for family, but it's also good to meet new friends, and we appreciate you. Welcome back anytime, and thanks so much. But for Mike, Todd, I'm Corey from Rally Tough Sports. We are very thankful for everyone that has been tuning in, jumping in the chat. We appreciate all the new love that we've been getting on Twitter. And hope to keep this going. Everyone have a fun, safe, relaxing Thanksgiving. Enjoy the football. Enjoy the food. Enjoy the family. We'll see you next Wednesday night. Thank you so much. Peace.